Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the WTL Zwift Racing League. We are out on the Richmond Cobbled Climbs for 5 laps with both the B Division One EMEA Bs and the Division Two Bs for the women. It's going to be very interesting racing. It was a very long race this morning. This last night in APAC for Anna, and the battle out here is 5 laps, 15 climbs, Libby Hill, 23rd, Governors, repeat 5 times. I have like Zwift eat repeat, but this is like the puke emoji. What is the you said it was the which emoji was going on? You guys renamed the emoji too.
So we renamed the emoji Vomoticon and Vomiticon,
The
and based
Vomiticon,
off one
there
of
it is.
the Vomiticon. So we're mentioning the Vomiticon, and then we renamed Governors. I think it was Vomit Climb. That's what one of the teams called it. So if that gives a little insight into how the teams are approaching this race, a lot of people have got buckets next to those trainers.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult course. It's one that seems to be suiting strongest man or women wins. We saw this morning in APAC multiple walkaways, solo victories, not really sprint finishes. It'd be interesting to see how things play out if there's a little bit more parity within the groups in EMEA or Americas, if perhaps it might have been there was just a couple of walkaway riders. We'll have to wait and see how it ends up playing out. The men are just getting out on course in the men's/mix. So it's going to be, we'll jump in with them in just a minute. Let's take a quick look, though, at exactly what we're talking about here when it comes to this course and what kind of course, if you're unfamiliar with this was a new addition, this course, to Zwift in the last couple of years here, where they cut off the top end of the Richmond course that was just the flats that you essentially go through the 2 sprint markers. You kind of roll around with the pack. You can do a couple of attacks through the cobbles, but there wasn't a whole lot of climbing. It was kind of Grupo Compacto. Well, essentially, you'd leave from the pens and immediately take that left-hand turn right down into the industrial park along the river. Boom, there's Libby Hill, the red section, and then right on into 23rd Street. So a lot of climbing here, Anna. I mean, this other graphic really gives you an idea of what these 2 climbs are all about.
Yeah, and I think the part people don't want to get caught out by, and I have a feeling we're not going to see that solo breakaway because people will be chatting and telling each other what happened last night in APAC. I know I've been telling my teams, beware the solo breakaways. People are underestimating the fatigue on Governor's Hill. So even though it's not a timed segment, it is that last hill you see on the map. It's very long and sustained, and if you've come through those 2 climbs and you're really on the rivet, you can't get back on, and packs are just being shredded. And if you're feeling strong and you're confident, that's where we've seen some attacks go away.
Yeah, exactly. Those sections, that's where it's at. The second, third climb, Governors, is really, we've seen a little bit of breaks on 23rd, but a lot of times it comes back together to 2 or 3. They don't stay away a lot of times, especially with the speed on the other end. Usually a few riders at least are kind of together on 23rd on the downhill. A lot of times, again, also coming over the top of Libby, the insane speed on the downhill going into 23rd with a pack. A lot of times those dynamics will bring people back, or at least within range to be brought back into the fold. But Governors, you go into Governors with the second or 2, you got more power, or you attack over the top of Governors, and that falls flat into that lap banner. That a lot of times everybody's so kind of burnt. Their matches are there's just not a lot left in the
Yeah.
tank. People can kind of start to walk away, but then the descent into industrial. I mean, it's like this ebb and flow so much, and really it just comes down to
Yeah.
whether or not you just demolish everyone's legs around you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing is some of the riders who are used to racing more like 100K, 2, 3 hour races. It's sort of the ones who can last that hour distance at intensity. The ones who maybe are used to that 45-minute course where it's a bit punchy, they have recovery in the pack. They're getting really spat out the back, is what we've noticed so far. The other thing is after about lap 2, so laps sort of 3, 4, 5, those efforts up the climbs are fatigued efforts. So they are so I wouldn't say slow, but they're sort of just roll through efforts a lot of the time we've seen. That's an indication to a team if you want to run a strategy of just a rider dropping off and then putting in some really fast efforts in the back half of the course could also benefit you. If you've got sort of a rider who doesn't think they could last at intensity for an hour, maybe just have them focus on one climb.
It's a really good point, actually, because I definitely saw this morning that the second, third lap, the speeds over the top were much different than the first lap. And so, if you hang on, don't burn that match early on. Don't try and go with the leaders. Trust it's going to come back. Like you said, with Farron this morning, I don't think that he was the strongest when it came to like a fastest through the segment, but it seemed to me he just kind of rolled away going into the climb. I think it was on lap 4 and stayed away for the
Yeah.
rest of the race.
Yeah, I mean, it just showed you could almost, I mean, the avatars, you don't see much expression in their faces, but you could just see they're going, oh, we've got nothing. And that's what opened up the gap. So, yeah, I do like these races on Zwift. I like them because they emulate a little bit more sort of that in real life fatigue effect where you can't just keep attacking and attacking and attacking. You've got to have some strategy. And we saw some great strategies play out from Cryogen earlier, as well as the AHDRL team. So, this has opened it up for more team strategy and more people working together. What I'd like to see in this race is the attack counter attack because I think that could work. Everyone's fatigued. You've got someone off the front, pack catches up, someone goes again. And I think people will just be too tired to really follow that second attack.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go ahead and jump on in with the current standings for this division at this point, and then we'll go ahead right down into the racing as they are out on course. We're going to just jump into the men's. We'll do the women's when they do start, as there's a pretty big time gap between the two today. In the men's for division EMEA 1, division 1A, it is going to be Fusion ECT at 77 points, Cryo RDT there 76, Gen ZE Racing 64, PETA ZMA there 63 points in fourth. It's going to be DBR RT in fifth, Cryogen Col de la Loze in 6th, BZR SPSD, and then it's Canyon Development Squad in 8th, followed up by Wahoo Loco in 9th, and Kirchmer Brave Bees, they're sitting in 10th place.
And looking at the B category, the ones we'll be following today is ZRG at number 3 in first, Evo Vortex 2 in second, Kirchmar Honeybees in third, Ink Alien in fourth, love that kit, so hopefully we'll see that, Vikings Jumunda in fifth, Culver Wheelers CC in sixth, Peter Z 8 in seventh, Cryogen Zoncolin in eighth, Cardiff Ajax BTEC in ninth, and Bish Master Pro #Rabensat in 10th.
And in the C category, Kirchmer Stingy Bees with 80 points undefeated. Evo Core 173 tied up with Cryogen Iceland in third and second, tied up there for second and third. It's going to be ZRG number 459, also tied 3 ways. Wolfpack ZRG, Adam Racing Team Isotopes, dude, for 4. Wow. And then crank up to dirt there, 57. We're going to jump over to this after for a moment. We'll have to see. It's hard, though, with the 3 laps versus 5, but this is quite the battle. It'll be interesting to see at the end of the race here. Herd of Bucking Broncos there in 8th, followed up by Vikings Berserker, and then Foodsray Cogne there in 10th place. I probably said that totally way off there for that.
I think it's cognac.
Cognac. Yeah, it's a drink. I know it's a drink. Nathan just doesn't. Me and hard liquor, no thank you. No thank you.
The TBR Hard Knocks in D is first, Team NLD in second, Belgian Zwift Riders Gorillas 1 in third, Zwift Scotland D1 in fourth, Herd of Centaurs in fifth, Vikings Asgard in sixth, Cryogen Koppenberg in seventh, Zesp of Porco Spines, that's totally wrong, in eighth, and Greek Dragons in ninth.
Let's go ahead and jump right down to the images. We've got an attack off the front in Richmond at this point. There's quite the battle happening already, it looks like, down here. Let's see if we can actually... Well, actually, we're going to have to wait for just a moment here. But as they do take on this first climb, we'll get the replay in of how things are playing out. There's already a battle off the front. Netherlands, Spain, it looks like. There's actually a lot of representation out here when it comes to all the different countries in this B category. And that's one of the really great things with this EMEA. It's this time zone that can kind of really reach the entirety of the globe.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know there are some Kiwis in seasons 1 and 2 who are racing in here because we're on daylight saving, so it was sort of like 7 in the morning. Now it's, a touch earlier at 5, so I doubt we'll see many of the, Antipodeans, out racing. But yeah, it's really good coverage. It's great, for me, covering APAC. You see one side of the world, then you wake up a few hours later and you've got a whole different new bunch of people. Just shows the reach that this race league has got.
Definitely, definitely does. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here. This is going to be a replay to start off with as they just went over the top of Libby Hill. It was an attack here with P. Vink absolutely dominating this, it looks like. And it was super, super awesome to see coming in from him. This is going to be, I think, an Evo team, if I'm not mistaken here, Anna, as we've got Raiklen here, Raiklen and Nussbauer also on the attack, trying to bring things back, but it's going to be a 5-second gap. What an attack here coming right off the bat, taking these points down for the Evo team.
Yeah, and look at that, a little bit of a battle behind, but that didn't look full noise there with that chasing group. That was a great solo effort off the front. I have had a few people message me overnight just asking, how's it all been playing out? What's happening? What's the best way to do it? And yeah, I think this race really favors the brave. So if you just trust yourself and know that everyone else is fatigued, you can really put some good efforts in, take the lead, but you've got to be confident. You've just got to trust yourself that you can do it, even though you probably are fatigued yourself.
Yeah, a little bit of a break off the front, it looks like, in this situation. These are replay images. We'll go ahead and bring in the live images right now. They did just come over the top of the 23rd Street. We'll get the points in as quickly as we possibly can. Here is the live situation. It does look like KC here with B2 hammering off the front. Racketing there coming out of Spain here now, coming over the top with the super tuck. There's a little bit of a gap here now with 2 seconds back here. We've seen this over and over again. Usually does come back. Loke there, innovation with Burgess now trying to bring it back. The Kiwi from Cryogen. Tough it's going to be for these two, though, with the 4-second gap. Back in 13th, that means there's 11 bodies up front working against these two.
Yeah, that's not a position you want to be in. But look, if they can jump on that wheel of that rider who's just come past, because they're really going at a rate of knots, and it looks like they could come back. That is a big pack behind. But, one of the questions I got asked is, will the pack get whittled down on that first lap? Yes, as you can see here. But you can catch back on. The issue is, and I think I've got this, yeah, you can see it just Governor's Hill coming up and creeping in the back, is you have put in all this effort to catch up after being dropped on 23rd, and then by the time you get on, you hit another climb. And those riders in the front have had a little bit more relaxing, and they can push the pace, and that's where we've seen people get back on and then immediately drop off again.
Yeah, exactly, because Governors does have that little bit more of a steady effort over the top there. And it's not threshold, though, a lot of times, is it, Anna? I mean, a lot of times when you do hit this climb, threshold climbs are going to be more that 20-minute Watopia Mountain, Alp the Zwift. You're talking more of these mountain climbs. These are definitely going to be up and over the top of VO2. And at this level, you're talking 5 to 6 watts per kilogram, most likely, from these front runners to try and break things apart. And you do see this right off the bat here. ART here to the front, Cryogem as well, right into that 6 immediately. Maybe holding back a little bit, knowing what's to come here with 5 laps, though.
Yeah, Mitchell there from ART, sort of taking the lead here. You see people dropping feathers already, and that's when you know that they're really struggling, because I'm not sure. They will pick up a power up at the top, but you would have thought people would be holding on to those feathers, being the preferred power up for Libby Hill. But obviously, they're just struggling. And you can see how strung out that is just with that graphic there, that there are riders who look like they'll be about 10 seconds back now. I doubt they'll get back on. This pace is too hot. So the pack is relatively large, but it has been whittled down, and you've just I think at this point you'd probably just say in the safety of the pack. I'm not sure if this Alien Ink rider has got sort of team orders to really push it up here and break things up, but I think the safest point here, maybe lap 1, just stay in the pack. You've got a lot of riding left to go.
Now, this is what I was talking about, though. This little false flat here, 2% uphill gradient right now. It does not level out for quite a while. And the riders behind, they still need to work together to try and bring this back here. 3 seconds ART there. Now, Atomic that off the back by if you just come across, it might be able to happen, but it doesn't look like he's going to be brought back into the fold. But Rhodes, this is a risky move here, because the reality of the descent into Industrial with such a large group behind, is he just going to try? I think they're trusting that the reality of the snowball effect is just going to bring him back into the fold. It's not really going to make anything happen here. It's not whittled down enough with the amount of bodies. But once the mayhem really starts and things are just all over the place, and once this pack completely shatters, at that point the snowball effect really does decrease, that avalanching downhill. But with this many riders, I just have a feeling the attack here from Innovation is more of a testing of the waters, because they have a lot of riders in it amongst here, so they're just going to slow things down and wait for the next couple of laps. They're in the driver's seat, it looks like. ZRG though as well though, Anna, they're here. You do see the blue and black kit as well of the German team. They might just be biding their time watching Innovation burn their matches.
Yeah, remember what happened in APEC though, Nathan, where you had Sky go off in a break on lap 1, very similar to this, a break that sort of got brought back. Didn't look like she was making a huge effort to stay away, and she was just left hovering. I think she was testing the waters, because then lap 5, that was the move that won her the race. And I think this could be what they're doing here. How much effort do we have to put in to get what kind of a gap? May as well test it out now in lap 1, and then let's see if they can make that happen in lap 5, end of lap 4, to really take the win. But they definitely will catch up, because this is a big enough group that this momentum on the downhill coming up will catch them up, and hopefully that Alien Ink Rider will be able to stay up on the Libby Hill climb and hasn't burnt too many matches. That's where they could get caught out as they hit that climb and just don't have that top end power anymore, because this pack behind is very, very a lot of Trons as well.
I like that, Anna. Maybe just flexing. The innovation riders are just flexing their muscles a little bit. Showing, look, this is what we got. You're going to have to deal with it. And testing the waters there a little bit, but showing they're not afraid to attack off the front. And, a lot of times that does put questions in people's minds when somebody does kind of just ride away like that. If you're a confident rider, though, as well, and you watch that, you know that rider has burned that match. You kind of take a little mental check mark in your head, don't you, Anna, to kind of just say, okay, I know that this rider put that effort out there, and they're not going to have that in the tank later when it really comes down to race time.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd be doing if I was racing here is just clicking on that rider, doing a bit of fan view action and seeing what their heart rate is. So how hard are they actually pushing here? Is their heart rate sitting around, I mean, you take a general guess, it's obviously different by age, but general guess, I go, if they're in the 160s, they're kind of cruising. If they're hitting that 170s, 180s, like they are burning a whole box of matches. So that's what I'd be looking at. If I see that, I'm not really too concerned. If I'm seeing heart rates in the 160s, I'm getting worried, because they're putting a consistent effort that isn't really burning the legs too much.
So looking through here, a hide now. It looks like Germany now to the front, but it's just off of the just a little bit off of the super tuck. Not a whole lot happening actually there with this point. Most likely just going to calm right on down. We still see Hagen there as well to the front there, coming out of Switzerland. Excuse me, not Switzerland. Coming out of Norway. And now, as far as the teams, though, that are represented here at this point, we were talking a little bit about ZRG, Zwift Racers Germany there. We also see Kirchmer is involved as well. Be on to watch out for them. One of the teams that has definitely been dominating in the series standings so far. Ruhr Riders there are hanging out. Only one team that, from what I can see here. Now, I am seeing this... Bikes and Beer Kit. I wonder if the Bikes and Beer Kit, who is being represented there with this team. I have to get an idea, as we'll have to do a little bit of clicking through. CWCC here with L. Cunningham. So they're going to be ones to watch out for, as well as they do have a couple of riders represented here in this pack. So be on the watch out for the kits, everybody. There were some new rulings within the Zwift Racing League Season 3 that teams did need to select a kit and stay in that kit throughout the duration of the series in order to have good identification both for the other teams around them and the broadcast.
Yeah, and there have been some great kit launches as well, I do have to say. So I've been tagged in quite a few posts about new kits out there. I know we've got a new women's kit for me to keep an eye out for today. So this is teams have had a real chance to get their design hats on and pull out some really cool looking threads. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here with EMEA. And yeah, that I do love that beer kit. Like, it is probably up there on one of my faves. It's just kind of a bit tongue-in-cheek. I actually doubt many of them have been drinking a few beers before this race. Otherwise, they're going to have a very painful experience as they come into the Libby Hill second time up. The Libby 23rd Governors 1-2-3 punch with a group that's nice and tight together. I've seen one rider just off there in the distance who hasn't managed to get back on, and it's such a brutal position, that one. We've really tried. They've obviously not made it before that downhill. Pack dynamics, pack has gone a lot faster. They've been shot out the back, and it's always really horrible because now you've got a very, very long race, pretty much solo.
Solo ride off the back, never the place that you want to be. They are heading second time in, as you were saying here. BZR Lions 3 here, coming out of Belgium, and always loving the Belgian Zwift Riders kit, as you can see. And this is not the place to be. Probably just going to be waiting up, though. B. O'Connor there from Herd, as well as Bailey from the Cardiff Ajax there, ART Atomic there on the chase. Here's the main chase pack at this point. Does look like a lot smaller, though, than the front group. Going to be not having the numbers needed to get anywhere close. And after you're dropping off after that first Libby Hill, most likely not going to be having the kind of power that is needed. But to the front of the group now, it is going to be Rhodes again taking over. We saw him on the attack the first time through over to the top of Governor Street. We'll get an idea of how the points ended up playing out here as they do start updating here. P to Z, I did not mention P to Z, but they are also in the overall standings and still represented here. You did just see the name tag just pop up. I do believe they're in a little bit more of a fluoro kit. We'll see if we can get them on screen here in just a moment. But Herd now, one of the cooler, newer in-game kits. And now, I don't know, but here, the pink Tron, though, Anna, you want to give there's a little bit of, we'll maybe leave the history
We'll wait
alone.
till the quiet part.
Yeah, we'll wait till the quiet part here, because that is the kind of the history of the fashion police here. Because now, here we go. It's on the front. Adam now taking over again, as it is going to be Hayes, ART, now on the front, 4.9 watts per kilogram. Usually this is just a little bit of a prodding of the pack, though, because as you were saying earlier this morning, it is kind of that second to last hairpin, 20%, where things really start to take off on Libby Hill.
Yeah, I mean, those two hairpins, which you can see on the map in the top right, they go up to that 23%. And if you're going to launch attacks, the second one is the best place to go with the feather. People are struggling, though. They're launching his power-up so early. This is a huge early attack here from Burgess from Cryogen. You've got to say that's a fake attack to pull up their teammate. You can see the teammate just behind them, Taylor there from Cryogen, with the pink hat on. I think he was just getting onto his wheel. This is a 1-2 concerted effort attack. I'm loving this. Great tactics here from Cryogen. Can he pull up onto the wheel? You can see those orange numbers, but you've got Rakitin there from Spain catching very quickly as well. 3 following from Burgess, but Burgess, the Kiwi, early morning start for him. Amazing points, and Rakitin, that could be tight.
I think he took it. I think Rakitin took it. I'll have to take. We can actually go back to a replay after 23rd. I'm going to wait on the 23rd because this is going to be a key moment here. But we can go back and look at that. I have a feeling Rakitin took it down there, though. Solid effort there coming from him, as definitely showing up to race here in the B category. Full gas up and over the top now, as Rakitin here for P to Z is who he is riding for. This is a team. Be on the watch out for them. Always good climbers. And they actually have one of the largest Twitch channels, actually. Very, very cool. They put on these races on the weekends that are almost always these like mountain insanity courses. And they definitely have some strong climbers out here. And Rakitin's going to be one of them, it looks like, today. Taking down some points. Loke there, biding his time, perhaps. You know, there he is again, sitting in the wheels. Or is he struggling? Is Loke perhaps...
Is he under 13?
Is that
under 13 rider?
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
I think this is actually gonna be. There's another Loke on the. This is probably the son of one of the A riders. I have a feeling that are on that innovation team. If I'm not incorrect there. Now this is a great roller through coming from the UPPS here now from the other innovation rider. What a move! But Hobby here is gonna be able to hang on. It looks like over the top. Flanker, BZR second. Newsbomber there for third, it looks like. Again, so close. And this is not breaking up as much as what we saw earlier this morning. Definitely a lot closer and a lot more bodies here surviving through on the pack.
And that's got to be so beneficial for those riders behind, because the ones who are just straggling at the end of that chase pack there, you can see, will be able to get on some wheels for this downhill, super tuck, hopefully, recover a little bit, backspin, freshen up the legs, and hit governors a bit fresh. So with the bigger pack dynamics, you are going to see a lot more recovery happening. When you're sort of split in those ones and twos, that's where things just explode so quickly. But looking at that pack now, I mean, this has gone down a little bit. There are gaps there sort of behind the 20th rider that may be a little bit at risk here, as they will only catch back on when the next hill starts. So we could see, I would say, about 5 riders dropping off from those attacks.
To the front now, Rhodes, and it does look like Innovation again, trying to do the 1-2 over and over again, keeping the speeds high, maybe, but at the same time here, if I look back, and they may be actually just trying to slow things down, because this rider is a little bit isolated at this point. We do see UPPS here coming up over the right. That is going to be it. Here comes now another rider there. Is that going to be a Loke here? And, I have a feeling that U23 rider, he might not have the kind of punch that you need to attack over the top of 23rd or Libby Hill, but the consistency perhaps when it comes to come over the top with a threshold effort, just the high watts per kilogram over the top of the governors and then into that lap finish banner, or perhaps just being youth, they were like, hey, you're going to have a lot of energy up front, go attack and be ambitious while the rest wait in the wings here. Now in the green though, Ajax, we didn't talk about a lot about them in the first lap here. Be on the watch out for them, maybe just fade climbing though as they do work their way backwards.
Yeah, I mean, that pack definitely has reduced in size, and you do hope they're not sending off the under 13 rider to be the sort of sacrificial hill climber over the first few laps. I hope that he's looked after well by the team and can settle into the pack. But you're right, he'll be very light, which will push up on those 23 percenters, a great watt per kg. But staying with the pack, when it kind of gets into these more gradual climbs and then into the flats as well, will be pretty hard on him. But doing extremely well. I have seen through from George Goncalves that yes, Nathan, it is his son of one of the A riders.
Absolutely awesome to see. I believe that is going to be C. Loke. I forgot the first name there, but I definitely do some innovation interval rides where I have jumped in with them on Tuesdays. It's late Tuesdays, early Wednesday morning. They do a really great interval ride that everybody should check out. Also in the Innovation, also obviously a really well-known team within all of the categories. They've been around since early days, actually. So one of the long-standing teams. Caroline Williams, actually, one of the top riders from Hino, does that almost religiously, I would say, on a weekly basis, jumps into that Innovation Wednesday morning / Tuesday evening for me ride, actually, and just smashes it. So high tempo intervals, even into threshold and some VO2 max at times. So solid hour and a half ride Innovation. Now showing us exactly that on the front now, 4.5, a little bit of over-unders here coming from Rhodes.
Yeah, is this the same alien
team
rider who went off?
No, it was
same
Loke.
team.
It was a Loke. So I think they're kind of like trading off here a little bit, saying, okay, your turn, just trying to whittle everybody down.
Yeah, I think these riders who are really good at the sustained power effort, because you see the watts don't fluctuate too much. It's a really prolonged effort. I think this is a good team strategy. They're really tiring out those legs behind. Only if, and you see an Alien Ink rider on the front of the pack behind, which that's not the best strategy. You don't want to see your teammate chasing down your other teammates. I'm not quite sure what.
Well, he's got 11 meters.
There.
He's got 11 meters, and ups is at 1.8 on the front. Did you see that? So it looks he's got over. So now the chase that this is going to instigate, though, that is true, though, at the same time. It's an interesting, but he did have the gap. He did have the gap to work with it. And then UPPS, he went to the front and backed off. So we weren't there to see, but at the same time, it does kind of speed everybody up going, well, we can't let 2 go off the front, but they're kind of in control of the race, it feels like at this point, though. At the same time, you really got to think who's waiting in the field, who's just waiting to pounce here. You know what I mean? Who's watching for what's going down out here, is looking to clean up once innovation maybe burns themselves out. We'll have to wait and see, because these riders, they're going to be familiar with each other after 4 weeks of racing, right? They're kind of going to know who's who and who to watch out for. And I just get the feeling that there's a couple of teams here with a lot of riders still involved. They're just saying, yeah. We've got 15 climbs in total here. This is only 9 left to go, and they may just be saying, innovation, burn yourselves out, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the two teams that have stood out for me are Innovation with these sort of solo attacks coming up governors, and also Cryogen with that 1-2. I don't know if they actually got 1-2, it might have been 1-3 over Libby Hill. But what I'm noticing from that aerial shot, there is only one cryo rider left. It looks like Burgess, after a really strong start to the race, has dropped out of this front pack, which is unfortunate for Cryogen. They're just left with that one rider with the pink cap you can see there just near the front, super tucking. So, oh, that's a tricky position. One rider in this group, and look at all those alien jerseys that were in that group, and also the Kirchmar racing team. So
What
this
happened
is,
to Evans?
yeah,
This is the
there's
rider
just
who
been
took off
detonations.
at the start. He was actually the one who Vink, not Evans, Vink. This was the rider who absolutely demolished the first climb, most likely going for fastest first across the line and the segment points. And I just wanted to highlight this. It was actually, I can highlight it now. It was an accidental click, to be honest, but we can highlight it now because it goes to show how it's a points race for the KOMs, right? And because it's the points race for the KOMs, he was able to play his role, and now he can roll across the line, right? He doesn't have to worry about anything else except for the fact that first lap, Evo sent him off the front, go get some points. It would have been nice if he could hang in, but isn't going to happen, and he just needs to roll around for the rest. That's going to be a long day for him if he continues on, though, at that pace.
I mean, yeah, it is I don't know if you want to be drawing the short straw for the early attacks on the climbs, because, yeah, it is a long race to just be riding alone, kind of drop from the pack. It makes it go so slowly because there's no dynamics to follow. You're just basically, maybe you'll be on Discord, but maybe chuck on a good podcast or something and ride through the rest of the hour. It's not a fun race, that's for sure. And looking here, I am seeing, so there were the Kirchmar team, the Alien team, though. Alien Inc. has definitely dominated this pack. I mean, I'm not sure. They must all be in the same team. I'm not sure if they've got two teams in this division, but they're doing extremely well. And the Kirchmar team, who are on the yellow Trons with sort of black and yellow kit, also doing well. And unfortunately, Taylor here from Cryogen totally alone with Burgess, who performed so well early on, dropping off the pace. Not sure if that was a strategy or maybe he got caught out. But not great. They looked really good at the start, but this isn't good news for them because they're going to miss out on a whole bunch of first across line points. Fastest time segment, I think, would have happened in lap 1, so those points will all be gone now.
Yeah, tough day for Cryogen on that point for sure. We're going to see if we can, just to give you an idea, for the teams that are still within the pack here at this point and the current standings, to give an idea of how things are going to be playing out. This is going to be the D category here. We'll go ahead and move on over to the Bs that we are watching. ZRG are the top team, and that's why I was saying you're seeing there's still a lot of these black and blue kits, right? Like they haven't gone anywhere. You can see this is gonna be hiding actually here, but ZRG here, as you seen the German flag.
Oh.
There is so many of these kits still involved here. ZRG number 3, they're in first place, 68 points. I really do think that they're biding their time because Innovation, they have been extremely aggressive, but I think the reason being is they know they need to win today. At 59 points, they're a full 9 behind on the series standings. So they're looking to try and take things down because they need to make up a lot of points at the second half of season 3.
Yeah, it's and you always worry about those sleepy giants. So the ones who you're not seeing too much at the beginning because they're kind of playing the long game, strategizing, holding some wheels, saving energy, and then just they would have had the team orders get as many people into the front group as humanly possible because that's how you're going to win the race. Is just have so many bodies up here that you don't really need to push too hard because like we saw in the last few laps, those are really aren't high efforts going into Libby and 23rd. They're sort of attritional efforts where maybe one rider gets away, but everyone's really struggling. It kind of rolls across the line. But to be honest, with how big this pack is, it could be a little bit harder these last climbs because there'll be a few fresher legs who have hung out on the pack. So maybe we will see more attacks even at the late stages of this race.
Now, I really want to point something out here. One of the teams that may be in trouble because of the situation, Evo Vortex 2, 67 points, currently in second place, but look at how many riders are involved here. Evo only having 2 riders from what I can see with the pink kits. It's going to be Mudge is there as well as, I'm going to see if I can get the other rider's name here real quick. Harper. It's going to be Harper, the Welshman. And Mudge, that's it in the pink kits. And maybe it's because they didn't show up with the double pink Tron here, just the Canyon. Not sure. Harper have to do some more climbing on the day. We do see the other rider there. Evo usually does have a pretty solid setup, actually. That kit is absolutely amazing, to be honest. Loving the pink. They usually show up in all pink Trons. When they do, on the TTT especially, that is one of the coolest scenes
amazing.
You'll ever see.
I do want to say, Nathan, just, not to nitpick, it's magenta. So that bright pink color is actually a magenta. So they're the magenta train, and they're under strict orders from their team manager. I have heard that they need to be matching. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to that rider who looks on a different color, but we are heading into Libby Hill here, and already some early attacks off the front here. Rackerton again, who we saw over 23rd last time and second over Libby. So he's still right up there on the pace, but looks here like Domo B from CWCC taking the hill by the reins, going up that first little corner. We're hitting the first hairpin coming up soon, and then there you can see the second hairpin, and if he can stay away now, I think he's made it away. 2 seconds over Pritchard, his teammate in second, who is opening up a sprint. Again, this looks like another 1-2 tactic that is playing out perfectly. Pritchard there following close behind with some of that cryogen rider, but I'm not sure
hold on.
I think that Domo B will make it. Domo B,
oh my
I believe, will
Here comes Racketed though. Racketed last second though. Here comes Pritchard. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so incredibly close. Oh, how did he do it? He yelled on. It's going to be Taylor. You were saying cryogen maybe caught out, but the single man does take second there. But Domo here, CWCC. What a move. Usually those do not stick. That is hats off to the Colville Wheelers rider there. That's who that's going to be. They're currently tied with the Vikings, P to Z, and then Colville. They're all tied for that 5th place, actually, at that 56 points. That's that really hot battle within this category for the Bs right now in EMEA East Division 1B. Solid ride here from CWCC. They've got Pritchard there as well. He was right on the wheel. He was battling out to the line. So CWCC, do not count them out. Are they all in this black kit? Or is there a little bit of a... I'm going to look around here a little bit and see, because Pritchard here as well, actually Bikes and Beer, it looks like, is what they may be supposed to be using. It might be a client side. Sometimes once in a while it doesn't swap if I get into the pens a little bit too early. It's a nice little roll through perhaps from Pritchard, but he's a little bit off the back here. Rackton here, not a place that you want to be. Ooh, the speeds are super high. No. He's going to have a huge kick.
He's seen that. You can see him get out of the saddle, do a little bit of an effort. He's got to pull back up because this sprint has started super early for this 23rd Street climb. And look over the top. Who is it? Loke, the under 13 rider, pushing up very far. He may make this. I'm going for him. The Ink rider, 13. No, he's been taken over by Halby, who we saw early on. Now coming through for one of these later laps. That's an amazing gap and huge effort there from Halby. And he has pulled through to take that 23rd Street climb over Loke with the early kick.
What a move there from Hobby. Well timed, actually, there. And, that roll in, it's so tactical, actually. The way that they take on this climb, and this is going to be a little bit of a shout out to everybody. Watch how they do this, because the way that they... It's really interesting, because in my cobbled climbs recon... I talked about taking the speed into the bottom of the climb and then full gas as fast as you possibly can up and over the top. But I'm seeing these riders doing something a little bit different, actually, where they are kind of drafting a little bit up front on the start of the climb. So I'm just going to bring this in here real quick for everybody to see on this replay. of how this ended up playing out here. And if you actually see here, it's really interesting how they kind of waited until this second half and then you see.
Yep.
So it's kind of like they
Yep.
sped. They took the speed with them. They carried that and they only held where they needed to at 7 watts per kilogram. Then it was 11 watts per kilogram at the final half of it. So it was kind of like they rolled through at the speed, held where they needed to, and then they waited for that kick. It's kind of a traditional sprint almost, except for instead of 200 meters to the line, it's 20 meters uphill to the line is what you're waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, super interesting, Nathan, because I did talk to Jackie Godby, who has won on this course before, about how she approaches Libby Hill. She always approaches it as a negative split. So it's hold wheels about halfway up, and then you hit those really steep corners, and that's where you just go full noise. And the people who've gone too early just cannot match that kick and power, particularly if you've got a feather power up. So absolutely negative split wins the day. Start conservative, and then really push that last half of Libby Hill, and that's where you will more than likely take the win or roll through in the top three.
Do you see ZRG now making the way to the front? It is going to be ZRG that are the current points leaders by 1 point overall. The riders still left for ZRG that is going to be not Schmidt here. Schmidt's actually with the German flag is going to be riding for Ruhr riders. So, but Schultz here now starting to take over. Hobby, the rider who we just saw take down the 23rd Street sprint, fading from Rhodes, and this is their tactic: hit governors full gas and try and get somebody off the front. Innovation again, making it happen.
Oh, I mean, Rhodes, I don't know what background he's got. If anyone's watching who can let me know, because that's very impressive to be going for another solo attack. We saw this in the lap previously. I mean, that's got to be some very strong legs to be able to try this again. But maybe, I mean, this is a hill that I quite like. It's that sort of sustained 6-7% effort. You can just settle into a rhythm, keep your cadence high. I'm not good at those shorter power efforts. So I think if you like this kind of a hill, you can get away. I mean, like you said, Nathan, it's not like an epic climb where you're settling in for 20 to 30 minutes, but you can settle in at quite a high tempo and manage to get away, especially over the more sprinter inclined legs who have burned too many matches and just can't quite keep up with the pace. They need that recovery. These riders like Rhodes, they can kind of sort of get away, I would say, dropping an aero power up there with a teammate coming through behind. That's Loke, the under 13 rider, looking like he's trying to get onto Rhodes' wheels, 6 seconds back, but just got to be careful there, Loke, that you don't bring the pack with you.
Yeah, as you can see, Williams here, right on the wheel. They're actually getting a draft from this, so he needs to back off at this point. Rhodes now 4.7, as you can see. It does need to be matched at the 1% gradient, but there's plenty of draft, though. It doesn't need to be matched that much. There's plenty of draft here. Rhodes now backing off 1.6. He did use an aero power-up through this section, so it was a full-on commitment, it looked like. He will be getting another power-up, though, as he goes underneath this banner. We'll see if he does use that immediately. Rhodes now, though, saying maybe not going to be able to make this happen. So backing off at this point. Adam Bloke is the rider we've been talking about a lot. U13. I mean, that is a very young individual to be out here hammering with these boys. U13 rider started riding in July 2020. It looks like 43 kilogram rider. Oh, man, that's why we're seeing 15 watts per kilogram coming from this boy here. He's got an FTP of 226, but at 43, you do the math there, it's still very high watts per kilogram. Absolutely loving it from him. And he's actually a level 30 Zwifter. That's, I mean,
wow.
Very, at his age, awesome to see. And 91 races. So it does look like it all runs in the family here for Adam Loke.
Wow, that's level 30 after less than a year of Zwifting. That's very impressive. That's a lot of mileage under his belt. So just seeing there, I don't know if you picked up on that, Nathan, a lot of chat going on in this little group. Maybe a few friends out there.
Is it friendly chat? Or is it, what's going on here? A little bit of elbows being stuck out.
I can never quite tell if there's a bit of sarcasm there or a bit of passive aggressiveness. It seemed friendly. I'm going to go with friendly until I see anything otherwise. But looked like, I know I saw before one of them cheering on the rider who won the 23rd Street KOM. So there was a nice little bunch of cheering, probably from a teammate. And now people are, that one probably was passive aggressive. The second one asking how this person was still in the group. And that person said they were basically dying. So I think there's some tired legs in there for sure. But look how small that is now. What looks about 25 riders, 25 riders. Ooh, this is going to be a tough final couple of laps.
We're hearing from Phil V in the chat there over on YouTube. The rider that we saw off the front from Evo early on says, "Relax, pace, Nathan. Burned legs after first lap. Done my duty. Now survive until the end. Sunday morning pace." So as we were saying there, it's because it being, and that's one of the cool things about these points races is everybody can play a role. It isn't just about the final. First across the line in a scratch race kind of situation as you wait for the finish line. Everybody can kind of sit around. It kind of makes things really dynamic, right? So Phil V, he was still a major part of the race because early on, people had to follow that too in case it did get away, right? You don't know what the other team is up to. So it kind of creates this dynamic where you can play a role, get that first, fastest through the segment, fastest first across the line, perhaps on a lap or two. And then from there, you can be done, even if you're not a rider who can hang on for that hour and 15 that this race is going to go for and try and win for the final sprint. So I really enjoy this because all the team within this B category can really play an awesome role.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I mean, the messages from my teammates who were sort of saying, "Oh, this looks really horrible. Someone give me motivation. Oh, this looks like it's going to be hard." I said, "Yeah, but if you look at the flip side, there's like huge tactics that can play out in a long race. And yeah, even if you're dropped, you can play such a role. So these races are quite exciting because sometimes when you just got that 30-minute, 40-minute, just full power sprint efforts, uh, it's all right, but there's not really much tactics. You're in a huge bunch rolling around. These bunches just get whittled down. There's way more opportunity for those solo breakaways. There's way more opportunity for the 1-2 punches. Looking here at Ursus from the Peter Z team, it's just these longer ones, yeah, really hard. But if you make that front group, man, you can really light things up.
Now, Peter Z, I think they have more representation in this front group than we were recognizing, perhaps just because they're a little bit of kit mix-up, I think, between some of the riders at this point. Because Hobby here as well is also riding, I think, for Peter Z. I do believe, so I think anyone in these fluorescent kits is supposed to be what they were in out here today. Rakitin, I believe, is also another rider riding for P to Z. So I think there's at least 4 or 5 riders in here, and they are one of the teams that are also tied for that 5th place. So the only ones who have kind of been caught out at this point is going to be Vikings Jormungadar. I don't think that they're in here. I haven't seen a single one of the Vikings team actually making this front group.
No, and who is Halby racing for? I'm just seeing there a BM Pro, but I didn't notice any
BM
teammates
Pro
around.
was in the BM Pro was definitely in his Zwift Power, but I have a feeling that he's is that going to be the Bishmaster then BM Pro that he's riding for? So I may have been mistaken actually. That Hobby may be riding for them.
Yeah, so you can just see Halby there with that yellow kit with the blue shorts. So yeah, I think maybe it's a CWCC kit potentially. That rider I would keep an eye on because very strong up a couple of those climbs on the last lap. We're coming in now to lap. What are we up to? Is it 4 now? They're
On
hitting
the 4,
these climbs.
yeah,
Man, that's just this is going to be a good one to see because I think, unlike what we saw in APAC, there are some people who are ready for some early attacks, ready to kind of get away. And what I'm interested to see is what is Alien going to do up Governors again? Are they going to send their riders off the front and try and get a concerted breakaway, knowing we're coming into the last lap after these climbs? Because that's when it's actually going to work. That's when they're going to have to do it. Instead of getting that 5 seconds, they're going to have to push up to about 12, 13, 14, 15 seconds. Because this reduced pack won't be able to gain as much momentum on those downhills, more chance for them to stay away. That's what I want to see from Alien, because otherwise it's a little bit pointless what they've been doing the last few laps. But bear in mind, there are some very strong teams here. I'm seeing a lot of Kirchmar racing and some of those yellow kits. Only 1 Evo, or maybe 2 Evo, 1 Cryogen, hitting now the bottom of Libby Hill.
Interesting camera shot here. It just likes to kind of hang out over that corner for as long as it possibly can. But now this is a little bit of update on the teams that are represented. We haven't spoken a lot about BM Pro. They haven't put their tags in game, but Hyde is riding for BM Pro. It is in the Zwift Power, the team representation on Zwift Power, as well as Hobby, who has been very, very active at the front. So Hobby and also this A Hyde coming out of Germany are going to Alexander Hyde. That's who that's going to be out of Germany, and then Burned Hobby. Alexander Hyde is 326 races. He's actually a level 50 rider here, 68 kilograms. So a lighter rider. Be on the watch out for him in the back end of this race. But ZRG, again, I think they're the ones that have been waiting for their moment. Or perhaps, I'm over speaking on the reality of where they stand. I mean, the current series leaders, maybe this is a course that they were looking at and going, we just need to hang on. We just need to make sure that we're involved as much as we possibly can because, we'll have to wait and see. These last 2 laps are going to tell us what their tactic has been. Are they just waiting for the most points across the line, letting other people take, these sprint preems, but let's get as many in the top 5 as we can for the podium at the end of the day for those big points.
Yeah, I mean, look how this is really rolling through, not with a huge bunch of effort. As I say that, though, now we see, is that Simo there? From the in the green kit, Cardiff Ajax. Oh, perfect use of the feather power up, just hitting around those hairpins that you can just see pushed up to around 20%. They're going to hit one more before they hit the climb, and that's the time you've got to attack. Very different tactics we're seeing here. People are way more motivated for these final climbs to really push the pace. We are seeing there Vink, who we have, Simo there from the Cardiff Ajax, came out early. Rakitin, one of the big power riders coming through. I think he might get this. Looks like Rakitin is opening up to 11 kg. I think he might get this big gap. Wow. Rhodes from Alien Inc. very close behind. Rhodes, our solo breakaway instigator, also great on the climbs. Love seeing that.
Yeah, Rhodes almost taking it down, waited to the last moment here. But Rakitin, it was interesting the way that he did that because he did an initial push, and then he said, no, that was a little bit too early, it looks like, right? It looked like he was kind of like, I'm going to give it a go. And then, whoa, is this a counter? Loke? What is going on here? Oh, no, it's not a counter. It was I'm in trouble. Get back on. 205 beats per minute, the butterfly of the youth there. Serious suffering going on here from Adam Loke at this point. Not where he wants to be, actually. Is a little bit too much. Didn't feather it for the draft at this point, and they're gonna snowball him. They're almost doing this on purpose, saying, okay, go right ahead there, Adam. And now he's going to get into this situation where he's not in the super tuck. He's going to go backwards as they go flying by at 70 kilometers per hour. Now, will it be about that negative split again here? We'll be at bottom of the top. We do see Taylor now, cryogen early, very early. Now all the way to the front. Vink actually taking a little bit of Vink, this is interesting because he's a lapped rider, but Vink now maybe using this pack to get the fastest segment point here for 23rd because he's totally fresh. He used the pack, fresh, 12 watts per kilogram. This isn't first across the line, but that's maybe fastest through the segment. It's going to be Rakitin again. Just nipping it there for first for the across the line, it looked like. Hyde there, going to have to settle for second. Both of them BM Pro, though, so solid result for them.
I mean, Nathan, what do you think about that from Vink? Is that a frowned upon strategy? I always know in triathlon, lapped riders, they actually get DQ'd from the race. They don't get DQ'd here, but can you use the faster crew coming in to get that fastest time segment?
This is kind of an in-between for me because in crit racing, you get a free lap kind of a thing. This isn't for the win across the line. It's for a preem. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one because preems still are only awarded, though, to the person who are on the first lap. So that's in crit racing, real life racing. WTRL, they'll have to give us an update on that one. But for me, I think it's a good strategy. I mean, anybody could wait for a whole lap for the pack to show up and then use the speed with them and then come through for the fastest through the segment. And I personally am okay with it. I'm actually okay with that. He didn't, in my opinion, really disrupt anything there. Again, though, that's very particular to this situation. If you want a lot of times in those situations, you want a basic assumption rule, right? That's like that just can go across all situations. And if he were a part of a flat sprint, it might be different. He could have changed the outcome of the fastest through segment. But again, I think fastest through segments, kind of the nature of them is it doesn't really matter about first across the line or where you are on course in regards to placing. It just is about how fast you can go through the segment, and you use whatever's on course that you can to do that. So I think the nature or the spirit of the rule with that is 100% on board with waiting for a pack like that, actually, because really it's about you finishing on the day, and that's all you have to do. And outside of that, how do you get your fastest through the segment? I think that's within the spirit of the rule 100%.
Okay, you've made the ruling. I'll take that, Nathan. You take.
Well, I don't know if I made the ruling. I'm just giving my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm definitely not WTRL. I'm just a commentator, but that's where I think it would be good, in my opinion. Oh boy, Anna just really put a lot of power in Nathan's hands. I'm gonna give that right back to you, Anna.
Well, I like it. I like what you're saying. I think I wouldn't be too annoyed if I saw that in the race. So, yeah, there we go. Fastest time segment. I would be surprised if they didn't get that, because that was a huge sprint at 11 watt per kg from that rider who had been dropped, obviously had fresh legs that you saw. Now, what we're seeing here, they're heading up Governor's Hill. This will be coming through the start-finish banner for their last lap, and this is when you can just see Rhodes here pulling to the front Vink. Now, this is what I don't like to see as much. Vink is the lapped rider who we saw take that off. He just needs to drop out of the pack now, because this being up at the front of this pack when you're one lap down, just drop back now. I think you probably don't need to be mixing it up here, but we're seeing Rhodes taking it again, a 6.7. So this is what I'm interested in, because the first time he was more at around sort of 5, then it was around sort of just early 5s, and now he's doing some bigger efforts, already got 4 seconds on the pack behind. But again, Loke pulling to the front with very high watts. Loke just needs to settle into the pack. I don't know if he's maybe just settle behind that rider, Loke. Don't move to the front, because that is not what you want to do to your teammate. If you're going to bridge the gap, you need to push into orange numbers and create the gap yourself.
Well, okay.
He's
got the gap now. He does have it now. I think there may be a little bit of that like stubbornness of youth saying, no, I can do it. I can do it. And he's proven us wrong a little bit here, because he does have a 12-second gap. He did get across. He knew he had the arrow, I think. Right there, I'll give it to him that he knew he had an arrow and that he could close it down. So I'll give him that assumption there. He does continue right on. And this is where but it does look like he gave a little bit of speed, though, to the other riders there behind. They did, catch right on up. This was the section where we saw breaks this morning in both the men's and the women's race. We saw, in the men's race, it was on Libby Hill, the breakaway going into the 4th lap over the top of Libby Hill. In the women's race, though, we saw this morning, there was a big Kate there. Said Sky there was the ride of the season off the front from this moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a huge call. That's like calling the tour in week 2. I mean, we've still got a lot of racing left to go. I've got Kate calling riders of the season. I've got Nathan, just adding in rules willy-nilly as we're going along. I'm just going to, step back and not do anything controversial here. I'm not going to say riders of the season.
The most controversial of them all, the fashion police, is saying she's not going to get involved with anything controversial. Oh, man. Oh, so speaking of controversy, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Best dressed on the day in the lead pack. Who's it going to be? We're going to go through a whole lead pack here, and we're going to have a little bit of a competition. And, Rackton here very well. I don't know. This is the one that's been standing out for me the entirety, because it's so... I thought you would be... Oh, the only thing, though, I'm noticing... I thought you'd be really appreciative of this one, except for he doesn't have any gloves on. Almost everything. And then I guess the socks are a little bit off. So he's standing out here, though, for me because of all the orange. And then he's got this gray hair mohawk going on. So I just felt like it was a really standout rider when it came to the fashion. But some of the matching here might not give you that 10 out of 10 here, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, 10 out of 10 is, that's hard to come by. But I think if the socks, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the orange color, but if the socks were orange, that would have tied together the Tron with the orange detailing of the Zwift on the kit jersey there. So, yeah, I think close, looks good. It kind of looks quite rad, like a little bit retro. But I can't go past Evo, and I know they've got George on the socials who's saying they're always dressed to impress. I do love that magenta train, but and George is going to know this. They're going to get massive points off because they're not all matching on the pink trons. And I did actually think that there were strict rules on the Evo teams that if they weren't matching, they were off the team management orders. So you can see they're an Evo rider on an orange tron. That has absolutely reduced them to the bottom there. So Rakuten, I'll take it on board, Nathan. I do think looking really stylish there and kind of put his head above water, looks quite different to all the others with that sort of slightly different kit and the nice silver fast mohawk as well.
I am noticing as far as across the teams, though, ZRG here, Hagman, he's got an interesting setup here. Now, the only thing is the orange bike with all the... Because it looks like he went for blue accents all around, except for his S-Works is orange, which is interesting. Now, I don't know if that S-Works is only able to be orange, and it only
you can't detail those.
Oh, man. Rough. Oh, that's so rough.
Yeah, so I mean, like I've said to my team, if you're going the Canyon Aero Road, the colour detailing has to match the kit. That is the most important part. I mean, it's not about speed. It's not about winning the race. You've got to make sure that detailing is right. So I do like that, though, because the little mohawk matches the bike and the gloves match the socks. So there is a nice tie together. So
look at the orange. Holy cow.
Yeah, that looks good.
Guy.
That actually looks good.
This is like the Lorax. He looks like the Lorax. He's here for the trees. Doesn't he look like the Lorax a little bit for you now? I mean, do you know what the Lorax is?
Loving, I do know the Lorax. I do have children.
I was like, you have children. I was going to say, do you know?
Oh, yeah. I like the orange mo there as well. The orange mo with the... we did have a big debate last week about whether the beard and facial hair had to match the up top here. And I do like it matching. I'm not sure I like the sort of mismatching facial hair, head hair situation. So, yeah, full points there. Hagman, great. Loving it.
Then we've got Hippie hanging out behind us here. Is that going to be Vink here? I mean, this is like full on Woodstock style happening here. But yet with an arrow helmet.
Caveman. Wow, yeah, that's adding serious drag to that rider. But Pinktron, yellow gloves, no socks. Evo, I don't know what has happened to your B teams here, but they've missed the memo on all the matching and
it's
George,
it's B matching. It's B matching
Nathan,
here.
Can you see that pack?
Yeah, they've been talking this whole time. Actually, this pack up ahead has been yelling at each other this whole time, saying "work because they're coming, work because they're coming," and they have made it back on. This is a huge group as well, and I was not expecting this. And the question here is who has made this second group that's been just biding their time. This completely changes everything. 40 riders coming into the final Libby Hill is a completely different race than what we saw. And now, is this going to be attack off the front here? I don't even know what to say here because every team is represented now. This is a totally different race now at this point. Complete reset button.
Lost opportunity for those riders out the front. I mean, I don't know what was going on. They needed to work. Maybe they're just too tired, but they've let the chase catch back up. And yeah, what did we have before? About 15 riders, and now it looks like it's about 40 to 50. Oh man, that's and those riders in the chase pack who are just on wheels, sort of relaxing. I mean, they're the ones you're going to watch, and it makes me hold my head. What were you thinking? That lead pack? You just don't let a huge chase group like that catch up. But for anyone racing in other races, if you don't make that front pack on the first few climbs, don't worry because you will be able to get back on if you're in a big enough group.
Yeah, man. And now anyone who does have a solid kick for 5 minutes is involved for the win at this point. I mean, because really that's what we're talking about. 5 to 10 minutes all the way to the line. I'd say about 10 minutes, full gas to the line here at this point. And Anybody who's got that kind of an effort that can hang on or attack over the top of 23rd, even going into Governor Street, all that work from Innovation. And you saw Innovation really frustrated, I think, with what just happened because they did a lot of work to make that break. And now, at this point, those who have been waiting for this moment, I think they're really liking what has happened because Innovation are going to be really tired. And Innovation, as we were looking at the series standings, they were the ones looking for the most to gain at 59 points. They're a full 9 points behind ZRG, as well as Evo. And now Evo, they've got, it looks like, 3 riders involved here. One of the riders is 1 lap down, though, at this point. But now Pritchard here to the front. CWCC now taking over. It looks like it's going to be in the Bikes and Beers kit. Ratkin, though, he's been the man to watch out for over and over again. He's really timed it every single lap, but it's going to be ZRG now. We said they may have been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, and just look at this. Around that 20%, they're going to go around a little corner here, and then that second hairpin here is a rider opening up. Looks like it is Brian there from Evo Vortex.
He was brought back. This is where the rider was brought back, Anna. This was the upset we were talking about.
Yep. So this is a rider that was not in that front group we're talking about, and they have opened a huge gap. I don't think the people behind have got the legs in them. They're fatigued. O'Brien is pushing up. I think he's got this. He's almost 1 more corner to go, and he's there. O'Brien has taken this off Hageman just behind Nussbaumer, Evans. Rackerton still in the mix, coming in around 5th or 6th. But great work there from Evo. I mean, that's got to be giving them confidence coming into almost the finish. 1 more climb up 23rd Street, and then they're hitting that long Governor's Drag, which is going to be brutal with this big group, although it has split somewhat, and you would have to say they've got to push from now. They've really got to push, use every last morsel of energy to keep this group away, because that's how you're going to get a winner out of this one.
Want to just highlight real quickly the 2 teams we saw come through first and second. This may be a highlight or, talking to the plans here. ZRG and Evo, they were the first 2 across the line there. It was Evo followed up by ZRG. They've been biding their time. They may be grabbing tons of points in this final lap, because if they do that again over 23rd, then they get the first across the line for the final sprint. That could really bump up their points, because we've seen a lot of other teams taking the early points here. But if they've just been waiting for this moment, we might be seeing the tactics really play out in ZRG as well as Evo's favor. They're the top 2 teams still right now. It was a big risk to wait to this point, but they are definitely full on involved, and it's not a walk away from Innovation. It's not a walk away from P2Z. But here goes Evans now at the front. Innovation making it happen now. 733 watts. Nussbaumer coming across. Here comes Kurtzberg with the Beast too, but it's not going to be happening. Austria's not going to be able to hold down. It's going to be Evans coming out of the UK. Rhodes is there as well. A lot of Innovation riders at the front, though.
Yeah.
This is 4 Innovation riders, actually. Can they split this? If they do, that's going to be a massive amount of points for them for 4 or 5 riders here in the top 6. Evans, though, slowing down. I'm not sure they got enough of a gap. There's too many bodies, I think, here, Anna.
Yeah, and I think they just really gassed themselves on that 23rd Street climb, and they just can't, roll over that momentum. It's like a sprint. They need some recovery afterwards, spin the legs. So I don't think they'll be able to stay away. But wow, Alien Inc., they have been quite the sort of mix-up here in the racing. I mean, they've had those solo breakaways. They've had the light rider from Lokes. They've had a couple of riders who have caught up now and mixing it up and taking that second 23rd Street climb. And now they're in a really nice position where they've got a lot in that front group. Looks like 3 or 4 approaching Governor's Climb, which will be the last climb of this race. Anybody's game. No solo breakaway here. Riders dropping off. I think this might be the group we'll see coming through to the end. About 25 riders. A couple of Evo there. A few Alien Inc. And I think keep your eyes on Rackerton, because that's been one of the very strong riders of this race.
Rackerton, he's been in the wings waiting, but Innovation, they've got the bot, and they can play a lot of games actually at this point. Innovation could send people, if anybody has any energy. Yeah, there it is. There goes the rider off the front, and they can just start doing 1-2, 1-2, making people chase, while riders sit in, wait for their big sprinter, can just watch and watch. But CWC says, no, I'm going to make this pace hard enough that you can't play games. 4.15 watts per kilogram. Again, it may just be about who has the most in the tank. It might not be about games. It might just be about strongest rider wins after so many attacks. Who will they be able to play in the games? Rhodes, though, goes to the front here. 171, 180. All these riders are suffering so incredibly much. But Rakuten again goes
Rakuten.
8 watts per
Oh,
kilogram.
yeah.
He backed off, though. He backed off.
drops
He's just
back.
trying to
Oh.
position, perhaps. Rhodes, though, 6 watts per kilogram. Is this going to be bottom to top here, Anna?
I mean, Rhodes is the one we've been watching every single lap pull away from the riders behind. This is now the lap it matters. I mean, was he testing it before? If it was, you've got to go now, Rhodes. 6 watts a kg. He is pushing very hard in this B category. And he may, looks like they're going to catch back on. I think they know his tricks now. So I'm not sure of the strategies of why to do that. We've got O'Brien, who took out Libby Hill, dropping a feather and coming across. Rhodes dropping a feather. I mean, this is just like a brutal end to the race. I mean, there's no huge attacks. Everyone's just trying to push a little bit more power than the ones behind, hoping that everyone's tired and can't stay on the field. But Rhodes still doing pretty well at the front. But O'Brien, one to watch out for. They've got a second on the group behind. Could be here a little 1-2 battle between Rhodes and O'Brien. Rhodes, he's getting a gap. I think this is it. I think that was the move there. Around that corner, 6 watts a kg.
He's got to up it, though. You can't go to 2-2. That's not going to happen. Oh, Nussbaumer. He closes it down. It's back within striking distance. It's going to be, it's a race of attrition still, though at this point. It's no reset just yet because Nussbaumer's got 5 watts per kilogram. It's still pretty strung out. It's really about riding wheels now at this point. Who's sitting in? Nussbaumer goes very early, 10 watts per kilogram. It's because he's got the drafting power up. He knows he doesn't have an arrow to kick to the line, and he goes at 700 watts. He's got a 1 second gap. Nussbaumer is gone at this point. Rhodes can't respond. Rakuten has left it way too late. It's going to be a sprint for second place because Nussbaumer makes it happen. Kirchmer, they showed us how it's done. Rakuten, UBBS, Pritchard, Loke, nice job to Adam. U13 rider, top 5 ride.
That was amazing. I mean, that's I do have to wonder what Alien Inc. was doing with all those early attacks on those other laps, because it didn't really pay off in the lap that counted. But awesome finish there from Nussbaumer, who just absolutely opened up, and no one had the energy to hold back on. So, yeah, great finish there. Quite different to the racing we've seen.
Jumping right in, though, Anna. Right in here, Anna. Right into this real quickly. Sorry to interrupt here. Yeah, I do not want to. This is the first time up on the top of Libby Hill. First attacks. Want to definitely jump in here. And this was the team that you said we should be watching out for, specifically for how they look. But they're looking also good off the front at this point. The German rider here, Walking Horse, killing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told they've got a new kit in game, and that does look amazing with that matching Tron. But wow, amazing power as well from this L'Equipe rider with Bassett 7 seconds back. This is first climb up. I mean, that's got to be the fastest time segment, definitely first across the line. Draft rider coming up now, Bassett, with a little gap to Robinson from South Africa, and Holsom there as well from, I believe, Finland perhaps. So 2 draft riders looks like they're second and third, now pushing across this flat part. We haven't mentioned this flat part at the top of Libby Hill yet, but it is really hard. It's sort of similar to that volcano climb where you crest the top, and it doesn't go straight into a downhill. You can see here it's going up to 4%. It sort of rolls a bit, and then it goes into the downhill, and it just is really brutal on the legs, and it's where you've just got to keep pushing to catch up to that group so you can use that draft on the downhill.
Yeah, it's pretty full gas over the top of Libby, but then at that point, you don't get to quit, do you? You have to find a wheel, and if anybody continues on, like we're seeing from Walking Horse here, she ain't messing around. She's even using a arrow power up on the downhill to get as much speed as she possibly can. Interesting tactic there here now, 67, 66. I'm going to go ahead and compare through same section for speed now. See what she can do over the top here. We're seeing 64. It definitely gave her a lot more speed through that downhill than these riders behind. They only got up to about 66. We saw her at 72 kilometers per hour at a point. Now Bassett here is going to use her teammate. Wow, look at all the draft jerseys here coming through. Now Holstom's going to go backwards, see if she can jump back on, because did you see the roll through speed there? That's what it's all about coming in. You've got to carry it on through. Will she be caught? Really fading here. 15 kilometers per hour. Gridham's coming on fast. Grindheim. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I think her role is probably Libby Hill, because that's what we've seen. And look, it's a teammate here coming up. Power. Man, great name for Zwift. Wish I had that name.
Oh, it's actually R3R. It looked like a similar kit.
R3R
you were right.
did. From the front, it looked like a similar kit, but look at that. Horst from L'Equipe has taken first across line for the second time segment there on 23rd. Draft right here, Beset in third, and Power there from 3R second coming across. So very, very interesting tactics from L'Equipe there. I wonder if she has any teammates. I'm seeing Harris a bit further back in the pack in 12th. I think you'd have to say she'll drop off now. Not drop off the pack, but just drop the pace a little bit. Looks like that was her role. 2 first across lines, maybe some fastest time segments. So doing very well there, but little gap here between Power and the L'Equipe rider, who are now 4-6 seconds ahead of that chasing pack. I would assume they'll catch up though. Very, very early days.
Yeah, super early days. But if there's a pretty big differentiation between the riders and their abilities here, if there are a couple of standout riders, we could have a very early breakaway situation. I mean, the reality of the L'Equipe stages here, I mean, this is a solid gap. 13 seconds now with Cruiser, and when you have smaller groups like this and they're really hurting, Anna, it becomes a lot harder to close things down. If this was a larger pack and they were all together, they can kind of be like, all right, that's going to come back. But it's past that 15-second mark here at this point for some, comparatively with Walkenhorst and the rest. And she just continues to make things fast here at the front for these B women. So I have a feeling we may have a breakaway group already at this point of 5 riders. If they go over the top of Governors with this kind of power, I'm not sure that the riders behind. And Harris, once these riders get on her wheel, I'm not sure that Harris and Line are going to be super motivated. Well, I guess if you put 3 in the front group, though, they may just not care and just want to chase it down. Yeah, you're right. You're right. They just want to get back with their teammate at this point. It's too early, perhaps, to think about those games.
Yeah, I think too early for that. I think they just want as many bodies in that front group as possible. They can see them in their sights. They're heading Governor Street now. Looks like they're setting a nice little tempo here with Line on Equip. Just pulling up this crew. I don't think this is a problem. I don't mind this team strategy because it's not the last lap. It is the first lap. We've got a lot of racing. They're only 8.6 kilometres into the 46-kilometre race. So they'll hopefully catch back on. You want more bodies in there. It makes the race go a lot faster with the bigger group. But yeah, that was some early hands played in that first lap. We kind of saw who's got the strength. You got Beset, you've got the L'Equipe rider. You also had, looks like Power there. That's an easy name to remember. Power doing very well on the 23rd Street climb. So there we go. We know who the hitters are in this crew. It's the first time I've seen this group racing, actually. So good to see who's come out to play. And I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Looking through here, L'Equipe, interesting enough. Let me see if we can find them in the overall results here at this point. As I'm not seeing a whole lot from them when it comes to the overstandings. Power here now on the front, R3R, they're not messing around. I believe this is going to be the Bewitched team, if I'm not incorrect. And they are currently second overall. Evo Fire are there as well at first place. Still involved, it looks like. I believe that's going to be Goodall is going to be the rider that's still hanging tough here in and amongst them. Anybody else here from Evo? But Equip on the counter again.
Wow, yeah.
And this is going to be Line. It looks like they have shown up to try and take as many points as they possibly can. Are they outside, though, of the top 10 in the series standings? Is that going to be right here? So
yeah, I'm not seeing them at all.
Yeah, so perhaps they missed a race or something?
Oh,
or
wait, no. I think that, I think the 5th team there, Reigns,
is that going to be Reigns, powered by Stages? Is that going to be them?
I think this could be them. Because they're called L'Equipe Provence Reigns. So it could just be that their names are a little bit different.
Whoa, Beset saying let her go, don't even care, and Draft here with some good communications saying don't worry about it, she'll come back. And that's brave. That is a brave move. Love to see the chatter like that. And, there might be a little bit of, okay, fine, let us go. And the other L'Equipe rider being like, big group will catch. Beset is just putting it out there. Not even private chat. Just straight up like, don't even worry about it. She's coming back. Power as well. R3R. Oh, shots fired. Oh, my gosh, boys and girls. This is great. No.
This is awesome. I'm loving seeing this. But I don't know if they haven't watched any of the racing that's happened. These solo breakaways do stick, especially on a group that's this small. There's only 6 riders in this chasing group. They need to be careful. I mean, they're talking a big game here, but, I don't know. Line there, 9 seconds ahead. they're not going
And
to carry out so
the
much
other thing is they
momentum.
have this really strong Walkenhorst in here, right? Or Walkenhorst. She
Yeah,
can just hang around and ride wheels, and once they do start working, she ain't gonna chase, right? So
yeah.
there's this dynamic here at this point where they got to be careful. Now they're keeping it within 9 seconds. So, if it went out to 15, maybe they would start saying, "Duh, yeah, okay, we got to start doing something about this." But they're definitely keeping it within comfort, right? They're watching it. They're saying, "Okay, this isn't going anywhere at this point." Now,
Oh, look at that heart rate though. She's burning matches on the front.
178.
That was
Yeah, and with the
178. That's
downhill here,
high.
Anna, interesting to see. What is
Yeah, I
that? What did
think
it say? Hi, Robinson. Interesting to see.
I mean, there's a
Power.
lot of chat going on
That's
here.
that's like that's code. It's code for she's coming back. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
I
See?
think
Oh, Robinson is one of the riders. Okay. Hi. Yeah, got it. It's
oh
one of the
right.
riders here coming through.
Oh gosh. There's so much chat in this group. I'm loving it. I'm done from S Power. Don't say that, Power. You've got the name for Zwift. Just keep it cranking. You did so well on that first lap. And I think that's what people need to remember. You may feel like you're done. Everyone around you feels like you're done. So if you've got a tiny little bit, you've probably got more than anyone else. But sit there calling her out. Yeah, right, Power. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right. You're not done. Otherwise, you just drop off this front pack. So, I love this chat. This is more chat than I've seen in any other division. So awesome, great work, ladies. And that gap has come down. I do believe they've got her in her sights. So that downhill, they've actually had enough momentum. She now looks like she's about 5 seconds ahead. So she'll get caught, but just put a bit of danger into the chase pack there. They just maybe thought, let's not second guess this L'Equipe team. They may be coming fifth in the overall rankings, but they've come out with a strategy.
So we're seeing a little bit of chatter from the men's race. That's really great, actually, here. You actually saw that, too. You commented in there. Too busy from Jay Saunders about the catch in the men's race, that back group
Yeah.
ended up catching them with 40 riders, then coming strong into the final Libby. And Jay Saunders is saying, too busy listening in on who came out top in the fashion stakes. Oh, I love it here. Also saying the chase group pushed as they wanted in on the fashion competition. It had nothing to do with absolutely nothing to do with the first across the line. Now, Flood here. This is cagey. I like this. Little bit of an attack. The speed through 63 kilometers per hour. Will she have continuance at the bottom? Good old 61, though. A little bit too much. If it was timed just a little bit later, it may have been able, but I think it was just a little too early with the speed from the aero power up. More like right here, right? Because 1% goes to zero. That would have been the timing, I think. But it was a good effort. It was a good effort.
Yeah, even if you can hold, there's a little bit of a kick sort of coming up, a real tiny one. You can just see it in that map. It kind of kinks in the road a little bit. That's also a nice little spot if you've got momentum to come from the back and kind of push up over that climb. Are we seeing a little 1-2 here, though, from Flod? No, that's the, is that a Revo kit that Flod
She
is
is in a Revo
using?
kit. She is in a Revo kit.
She's very motivated, pushing off the front again, just keeping the tempo very, very high. Like I found out from watching a lot of in real life racing now, keeping that tempo high just really stops any attacks over the top. But look at this. You've got 2 draft riders in there, 2 L'Equipe riders, and just the 3R and a Revo on their own. And it looks like an Evo rider on their own as well. So kudos to the teams who've got more than one rider, because they can start to play some pretty cool tactics.
Yeah, Flood here, she's hanging out in that kit, as you had said. I'm going to see if I can find out who she is riding for. It does say she's riding for Triathlon Vasta, actually, and Revo. Her team in Zwift Power. I'll see if we can get an idea here. I mean, Revo, Revo Snickers are a part of this, so I believe she is riding for the Revo Snickers. And in the kit there, loving the hat as well. Solid rider. We'll see, as far as strengths go, she may have been waiting for the right moment. I'm looking through. Not a solid sprinter. I mean, probably amongst the group here, the lowest watt per kilogram sprint here coming from her. But her 20-minute, so far, 3.8 watts per kilogram. Personal bet through. I mean, definitely a rider to watch out for, I think, when it comes to maybe trying to just make a breakaway situation, but definitely not the one. And that a rider like this who's got a very low, kick, but has just a higher threshold level, that all they're looking for is to try and get away. That's really, I mean, that. There's nothing really else that they can really be wanting to do. Definitely a triathlete as well. And
Oh,
that, you know,
love
you
the
would know about
triathletes.
that, right? You would know about the lack of kick, but high power all the way through for long distances, right? What am I
Yeah, and
saying? What am I saying, Anna? Am I going too far here? Am I going too far?
no, I think you're right. Triathletes are, the Richmond course doesn't usually suit the triathletes because of the punchy climbs, but because this course is so long and those climbs get neutralized somewhat, it is quite a good course. I mean, the best course for triathletes, hands down, in my opinion, is the Harrogate Yorkshire course. About 3 laps of that is right in the sweet spot for a triathlete, or a epic climb kind of an effort. Those are sort of the ones you like, where you've got long sustained power. You can just race of attrition, hold off more so than some of the people who can hold a really good sprint but not sort of carry on that power. So just saw a message come through from Mark Hagan, who knows a lot about the L'Equipe team. Looks like he might be the team manager. They've been talking all week about strategy. So that's why we've seen some tactics playing out already. Harris here leading the charge for the chase pack. Confidence to sort of bring them up because they want more L'Equipe riders, but they don't want to be bringing up that draft rider who'll just add to the numbers already. And apparently L'Equipe is sitting in 5th position because in week 1, unfortunately, they could only get 4 ladies. So they weren't able to get a full suite in week 1, and that's hurt them. But it looks like they're really moving up the table, and the racing today will be doing that as well, with 2 riders in the front pack. We're following the chase pack here.
Looking through here, and I am seeing Aeonian have been caught out. They are currently 4th overall at 63 points, actually, for 4th place in this division. And Aeonian, they have 2 riders in this chase. It is going to be, I believe, I'm going to look through here. This could be the R3R rider, Sichler. But Aeonian, definitely watch out for them to try and make the chase. It's going to be Nasrin Chamanian, one of the riders coming out of the UK that is in this chase group. And then it's going to be Mandy Poole, very familiar name there as well. M. Poole, watch out for her in the later parts of the race. Definitely a rider who's been around for a while. Level 33 Zwifter out here. She's also a lighter rider. Another one of these riders, Poole, who I think as the race goes on, if they are able to make the catch, maybe one to watch out for one of those breakaways. They probably a rider like this, as well as the rider Flood that we talked about earlier, riding for Revo, who's off the front here. We'll get back to the front as the attacks are on. It doesn't look like Bassett here from Draft trying to walk away with this one, but I think these sections do cause those lower, less punchy riders to struggle, but they're waiting for those back ends like we saw earlier this morning with the breakaway there coming from that Humperdick team. I'm loving that name. With the breakaway from the bottom into lap 4. So maybe we'll wait for some of those attacks. But right now the story's all about Bassett off the front with L'Equipe trying to chase it down. She might do it. It's only 1 second. Yeah, it's right to the line at this point. But Bassett, I think, Draft may have pulled this one off.
Got it. Yeah, Bassett's got it there from Draft. Walkenhurst, though, from L'Equipe, showing her colours as a very strong sort of 2 to 3 minute power effort rider. And Robinson Cruiser from South Africa, who is another Draft rider. No,
Nip 2 of them at the line.
Wow, line.
I thought you said
second, third L'Equipe.
Oh, Robinson Crusoe. I thought you said Cruiser. Robinson Crusoe, stuck on the island, solo at this point, needs to find some resources. I'm loving that.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Totally. That is a great
an island off of South Africa at this point.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Have you read the book? Have you read the book or no? Are you on board
school,
here?
I think. When I was at school, I have heard of it. Yes. I feel like I'm getting tested on books here. First the Lorax, now this one. Man, I need to start doing some study, not just of the fashion and the riders, but man, my English literature.
L'Equipe here, the German off the front, doing her studying, obviously, course recon, as we are seeing in chat here. And the L'Equipe riders here now making it happen.
Bringing the pain train.
Yep. Bassett here after taking it down, but over the top, Walkenhorst, this drafting power-up is because she probably can't hit it. Well, she can't hit it in the middle. I mean, it's not a bad move, in my opinion, because, whether or not you're set up, it's about setup. And my assumption here is I need to get a power up over the top. I'm going to be so all in. I'm not going to be able to hit it in the middle of this climb, maybe. uses it. Because if Bissett comes over the top, the drafting power up would have been better, right? Looks like she's trusting that's not going to
Yeah.
happen. Now she'll grab a power up over the top. Ladies are chasing. Bissett's going to fade. Looks like Walking Horse is going to take this.
Yeah, Walking Horse taking first across line points. Won't be fastest time segment. I think that'll always be happening in lap one, unless we see the strategy with the men's of a lapped rider jumping onto the front pack and controversially taking that fastest time segment. But Bissett here rolling through for second. Fast chase again from Line here from Equip. So Line obviously prefers that negative split kind of dynamic and rolling across for third. I mean, L'Equip must be so far ahead on those intermediary points, doing extremely well with two riders in the front pack. Draft has got two as well, but they look like they came about second and fifth as opposed to first and third. So yeah, Goodall here from Evo, really stranded, has to get back on. And our Robinson Crusoe rider, Robinson, stranded again on the island. This is not what you want to see. Coming in about 5 seconds back now. This is danger time. I mean, look, 24 seconds behind the leader now. Is Walking Horse going for a breakaway? 10 seconds ahead of her teammate Line.
Yeah, Walking Horse, I think this was the same thing that we saw on lap 1, now off the front again. But Line, I think, is following the wheels. We did see Line with some crazy power later on that seemed to be hidden. You know, the way that they're playing this, I just get the feeling that Line her job is to follow. I have a feeling that the Danish rider is not showing all of her cards because we saw her close down gaps very quickly earlier on, things that were a little bit surprising for power for somebody who may have been struggling. So I have a feeling she's allowing Walking Horse to get the gap that they want. Maybe even now at this point, working to get, they don't want to break. Well, the thing that she needs to think about here is Holmsen. So perhaps she's saying, let's make it fast because she does not want a second draft rider to get involved. That's what I think is happening here is Lion doesn't really care as long as this second draft rider does not get back on terms. 3.7 at the front. She's going to continue to push the pace. She does not want Bissett to have a teammate.
No. Oh, this is amazing. And I do want to point out, we have been saying it wrong, or I have. It's not L'Equip, it's L'Keep. So by New Zealand accent, where I'm used to saying it L'Equip, and I've totally butchered that one. So we'll go with L'Keep. I do speak a bit of French, so I should have really known that. L'Keep. And L'Keep here that we're watching, I actually got sent it in phonetics so that I could say it properly. La and then Keep. So L'Keep doing very well here. Line catching up to her teammate. Pulled up Bissett, and we got Power there as well. Power, who said she had dead legs and was really dying. Bissett called her out and said, no, you're not. And looks like Bissett was right. Power has made this little front selection. And again, perfect from L'Keep because Holmsen, the other draft rider, I do think it's the draft rider, has dropped off 6 seconds back. Goodall, 8 seconds back now. This is our front selection, I think. I think it's going to be too hard for that draft rider on that purple Tron you just see in the distance to get off with this hot pace that Line is setting. I mean, what do you think of these tactics, Nathan? I think these guys they've obviously been thinking about it. I mean, we've heard they've been thinking about it all week. They're starting to execute very well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but look who's on the front. Right, we just like coming over the top. We saw Walking Horse attack, Line then sitting in, waiting for this moment, working with these other two, kind of sitting in their wheels, then making the pace really hard. The second that she saw Holmsen coming across, then attacks Governor, and now looking to try and perhaps break away or at least make it a pack of 4 because there's a whole lot of riders on the chase behind here at this point. You know, look, it's only 27 seconds back now. And, I mean, yes, there's a lot of straggling between them all. It's detonation. There's a nuclear bomb in the middle of all this at this point. But if they get organized, that could come back still. 30 seconds with enough riders. It's interesting. We saw it in the men's race. Now, there were a lot more bodies. 40 riders is a lot different situation than 15 to 20 riders. But, you know, it's still risky. You still got to put the work in here. But now it's 2 seconds. And if her and Bissett get off the front, or even if she gets off the front at this point, it's going to be a long day in the saddle TT style. Definitely, though, with how strenuous this course is, can happen because riders will start to throw in the towel and start looking at each other. This is going to be a cagey ride. This is going to be a tactical ride with 4 riders if they end up all together. And they're going to start throwing, I think it's just going to be haymaker after haymaker to the end of this race now because of it.
Feel the power up being dropped here. Line. Now, will she take this forward? I mean, I love what they're doing here. If you look at that pack behind, Walking Horse is just chilling right at the back, not putting in any effort. Oh, now starting to put in some effort, though.
Actually slowing down, though. She went to the front and then went to 1.0, but now, interesting. Now 3.0.
She's doing a little Ashley Millman Passio that I saw in a recent race for SD Works, where was in the chase with her two teammates up the road and just kind of mixed things up and kind of got in the way. Would go to the front and then drop power. Would sort of take soft turns, and if that's the strategy that Walkenhorst is doing here, really chapeau to this team, because that's pulling some in real life strategies that I've seen in Flesh Wallone and Liège Bastogne Liège just playing out in Zwift racing. And this is what I love to see. I mean, I love seeing those tactics in real life, being able to come into game. And I think when you've got these long races like this is where you can start to see it play out. And I know we've got their team manager watching. Do you guys watch a lot of this women's racing? Because this is very similar to what I've seen in the Women's World Tour racing over the last few weeks.
3.3 watts per kilogram on the front from line. Now, just a moment ago, I have a feeling they're communicating the speeds to each other because their watts per kilogram were almost really, really similar, but we saw a very different speed differentiation, right? So Bissett now goes to the front at 35, and really that's what it's about. If I were off the front and I was able to communicate in Discord, I'd be like, all right, I'm holding 3.5, 3.4, but my speed right now is 36. That's what we saw from line. Walkenhorst, she was at the front with 3.3, 3.2, but the way she rolled through, the watts per kilogram were almost equal, but the way that she rolled through and the way the avatar was interacting with the other avatars, it only went up to 32 or 33 while she was on the front, definitely slowing things down. That actually gave her that extra 5 seconds to go out to 9 seconds there. Bassett, though, she's not even having any of it here, as well as we're seeing Power there, the race through R3R rider. They're now saying enough is enough. Walkenhorst to the front again, though. Does it again. Soft turn, 37, 36 here now. I have a feeling that she's really trying to work them over.
Yeah, and I mean, Bissett, you can get frustrated all you want, but she's not going to work. They've pulled line out here in front, 9 seconds ahead. Walkenhorst, she's either going to take soft turns on the front, kind of put a cat amongst the pigeons, or she's going to chill at the back. So Bissett, sorry, but you're going to have to take the bull by the horns here and try and bridge this yourself. Use Power here, although Power said she did have dead legs, so maybe not the best one to push. They're in a really tricky position. I think, L'Equipe has put themselves in a great position. The other two, I mean, they're running out of options here. This is the timing's pulled up. 3 riders, they don't have as much momentum as a pack. And as their team manager is commenting through, she's taking fake pulls. There is no way she's going to the front. And if she does, those watts drop and they get stuck on her slow wheel. Oh, perfect. I'm just loving this. This is I haven't done a little sort of in-depth analysis of tactics for a while, but this is one that I'm seeing that I wouldn't mind doing because
Bassett's frustration. Did you see it? Did you see that 7 watts per kilogram come on through? Bassett's like, enough. Yep. She tried to get it into super tuck range and it didn't. Oh, that's got to be so frustrating. It was right within super tuck range. It didn't, and she actually ended up slowing him down more. After that was almost a perfect kick to hit it. She went to 56, not quite 57. Never even got into a super tuck. Now out to 6, though, and Walkenhorst here, here's the thing. Fake pulls, 162. The other riders here, 167. If she sits in, all that's going to happen here at this point, it's going to be 1-2. It's going to be they make the catch, Walkenhorst, boom, can make an attack immediately off the front there, and line can sit in. Over and over again, they can just work this group over. Now, the question is, if they start messing around, though, Vandenbroek, look at this. We've got Goodall, Evo, Draft is here still now. They've got 3 riders too. If they get back on terms, Anna, they outnumber the reality of L'Equipe. Excuse me, I almost said L'Equipe. L'Equipe there. And then as well behind, we also have R3R with Kirby, and then they have. This is still there's a minute. Not even a minute here at this point between all of them. And with the reality of Libby and these others, we'll see how this ends up playing out. This race is far from over here. There's plenty of racing to go with 45 kilometers. I mean, we're only 21 kilometers in to this race at this point here, Anna. There's a lot of landscape to work with. A lot can still happen.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think this chase pack will be catching on to the Bissett group. They can see them in their sights. They're just up ahead. It is sometimes the downfall of the Tron bike because you can see it so far away in the distance. So they've got them in their sights. That won't play well for Line, who's actually that gap has diminished significantly down to 5 seconds now from Bissett catching. So Bissett is actually putting in the work now. They'll probably catch her at the base of Libby, but then you've got Weidenhorst, who's just been sitting there taking soft pulls and recovering in the back. She's just going to, I think she'll roll through and take Libby Hill and maybe roll through again and take 23rd. And if that chase pack, that's about 12 seconds back now with Flood, Tierney, Goodall, if they don't catch up by the base of those climbs, I think they may be in a bit of trouble because they're obviously slower in the last lap and they'll just get that gap will just string out a little bit more.
Yeah, we're seeing some awesome comments coming on through. It's Scott coming on through. I'm assuming that's going to be perhaps one of the draft riders over on the Twitch channel. Good to see the viewership over on Twitch as well. Color by Brooks is in there as well. Jerry's in there. Delport, some of the longest standing Zwifters hanging out with us. But he's saying draft is overpowered. So I'm loving that the chatter in the viewership as well is kind of picking up on this rivalry that's happening right now, because it is kind of a draft versus L'Keep out here today.
Yeah, I mean, draft has to make it back in though, and I'm not sure that they will. I mean, they're chasing here. They're very tight. The issue is, though, they're going to catch right back on before they hit these 3 climbs. And when you're chasing...
They're not doing the work, though. They're not really doing the work. I did see Goodall on the front. They've had help here from Flood as well as Vandenbroek. Who's Vandenbroek riding for? They're in a green kit. I don't have a name tag. We'll see if we can find it here.
Yeah, but I think... there's a reason they're in that chase pack. They got dropped. So they're obviously not as strong. And L'Keep, I think, is our riders to watch. Hopefully Line hasn't burnt too many matches, though, with that huge pull off the front. I think Weidenhorst is the one to watch on these upcoming climbs. And Bissett, who I think has gotten a little bit angry and frustrated, might take that anger out on Libby Hill.
Good call on that. Line still has 5 seconds. Still 5 seconds. Was she just backing off a little before they hit the climb? Be interesting to see here. Now, I do want to call out one rider that has made this group here at this point. They're from Dolphin Triathlon. 5 there, actually, and that is going to be Vandenbroek. She's a solo rider, though, at this point, though, for that team. We're also seeing, again, Revo has made that for the Revo Snickers, and then it is going to be any other solo riders. Evo, as well, are in here with Goodall. So those are all solo riders. They don't have teammates, and they kind of just get to watch what happens between all these other teams. Let them do the work. Let them have their battle. And then at that point, they can kind of take advantage of once they burn their matches here. Now, the reality is once it gets closer to the end, you start running out of landscape and you don't really have any tactics to play. But they can kind of just let these teams battle it out and try and take advantage of any opportune moments. Goodall with the dropout. No. Oh, no. Goodall. Evo. Worst thing to see. So sorry to see it here. Goodall now off the back. Evo no longer involved, as we were just talking about them, as Line wraps it up to 183.
Oh, wow. Here goes Line. And that's amazing. She's still got some power left over. We've got Tierney here from Scotland leading the charge at the back, but not anywhere near the watts that Line is putting out. So Tierney from draft just pulling up the crew. Looks like they're being pretty patient. But look who's pulling up now. Walkenhurst from L'Keep. And I think it's L'Keep versus draft out here. However, draft now has 3 riders. L'Keep, 2. So draft has put themselves into a really strong position. Holmson here pulling up around these hairpins. I think she will get Line.
They're both coming.
There we go. 1, 2 here. Oh, and then you have Bissett. Like I said, she's raging. She's angry. She didn't like having to pull those pulls on her own. And here she goes. Bissett, 5.7 watts a kg, pulling up 2 seconds behind Line now. She's got her on her sides. She's annoyed. You can almost just feel that rage coming from her. She's coming around that last hairpin. Here she goes. She'll take it out for sure. Passing now Line. Holmson, teammate, just
drafting power ups.
There we go.
Feathers. Line's got a feather though. Will it make the difference? It's 5.4%, 5.8 to the line, 5.6 watts per kilogram. L'Keep, can they do it? No, it's not gonna happen. Bissett comes over. Walkenhorst though takes that second. Holmson looking to hang on. She cannot drop off now. It's 2v2, but it may be 2v1 at this point as L'Keep look to come over the top and drop Holmson. This could be the race at this point. If draft does not get back on terms, she's gonna push 3 watts per kilogram. Everything she can to get on those wheels, and now it's heads up 2v2. Oh, man. This is
Oh,
great racing. We said it was draft's personal keep, and now they've played it out over Libby. What will happen on 23rd, Anna?
oh, this is amazing 2v2, and they've just, I don't think there's any love lost between these two teams on the race course. They just want to beat each other. That little battle there between Line and Bissett, you could just feel the tension. That was amazing. Line, obviously feeling very strong, pushing hard over this flat portion, probably wanting to get the speed up to get into a super tuck, because we saw what happened to Bissett when she didn't get the speed up, missed the super tuck and got dropped kind of off the back a little bit and reduced the speed. Line here looking very strong with Walkenhurst just bridging that gap. They come around the corner and then they're going to hit 23rd Street at speed. Walkenhurst, I think, may have this, but Bissett right on her wheel, having an early little attack there, and then to go around this right-hand corner, straight up. Straight up, here we go. Bissett, 7 watts a kg. Walkenhorst, 7.9 with the feather. I think Walkenhorst, if she can pull that through, will have a little bit of advantage over Bissett there. Looks like Walkenhorst may take this away. Very close racing between these two. Holmson dropping the feather as well, probably trying not to get distanced as we saw her do in Libby Hill. Walkenhorst, does Bissett have anything? Can she push through anything just approaching the line? Doesn't look like it. Looks like they're slowing down just slightly. Walkenhorst, very close. Yeah, looks like she'll have it. Has gapped those riders behind 6 seconds.
She can try right away.
10 seconds on Line.
Well, Line's not here anymore.
She should use it.
Yeah, because Line's gone. After that, so long off the front, too much power used up at this point. She's going to be hurting. Walkenhorst says, "Okay, I'm going to try and ride away." This is the 1-2 we were talking about. So, I mean, this is great tactic, because Walkenhorst, they make the catch on Libby. Bissett might have taken out Libby Hill, but the reality is that Walkenhorst was watching, waiting for 23rd, and said, well, this is actually going to be about the walkaway ride here. She gets the 5-second gap. That's huge over the top of 23rd. Continuance, she's got 2 laps to go, though. It's a long time off the front, but it's detonated behind because there's no big groups behind. This gives her very high chances. It's a great dice roll. It's a good time to put all the chips on the table and wait for that river card. I think this is it right now.
20 kilometres to go, though. Still a lot of racing here for Walkenhurst, with Bissett only 4 seconds back. And it is a little bit of danger, because you can see Vanderbroek and Power are only just over 10 seconds behind Line and Holmson, so you may see a little bit of a group come together, which could catch Walkenhorst. They're not coming into the last lap here. 20k to go still. A lot of racing. They're really only just over halfway. So there's some serious chase going here. People are motivated. They're not sort of getting dropped and sitting back and, riding at 2 watts a kg for the rest of the race. They're really motivated to get back on, as you can see from Power and Vanderbroek. So a lot of tarmac still to go and a lot of things still to happen.
Yeah, lots and lots of racing still, as you did say. I mean, and you do see Vandenbroek. Interesting enough, this rider's pushing. Maybe there's some quiet confidence here coming from this rider, because this is a solid effort here from the Dolphin rider. Absolutely pushing on. Dolphin Triathlon. Now, Marlene
triathlete. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, big power. And a little bit of of course, yeah. She's just going to win the race. Oh, do you see the elbow? Come on through to Power. I love it. She was like, come on, you got to come through. Telling Vanderbroek, telling Power to make a little bit of work now. The German rider now does listen, pushes 4.1 to the front. So they're communicating here with a little bit of in-game avatar movement, actually. Loving to see it. That was a great little, hey, why don't you put some work on Marlene Vandenbroek? She's a level 19 Zwifter, newer actually to the world of Zwift racing, it looks like. She's 22 races. Wow. And at the front here of this B race, absolutely great to see. Coming out of the Netherlands right now. She has, it looks like, Zwift Racing League all the way back. She did do, it looks like, Zwift Racing League all the way back in the C division, actually in season 1, upgraded to the Bs, and has been doing, well, it looks like it's a team time trial pickup, because she did last April was her first race and was Zone 3 WTR TTT. So obviously WTR hooking Vanderbroek into the world of racing here. Awesome to see her. She's in season 3 and at the front end of this B category. Trying to work with Power. That elbow though. Power saying, well, you want to give me the elbow? And now she's going to give the uppercut over the top. And they're making catches now.
Yeah, look at them. They can see the riders just ahead. They're about to catch on to Holmsen, who's the draft rider you see there with the purple Tron and the red kit. Then just up from Holmsen, 10 seconds up is Beset. And then you've got, they're the top three. So, I mean, they're right in their sights. They just have to keep pushing here. It doesn't even look like Walkenhurst is pushing pace too hard, 3.5 watts a kg. Holmsen riding around 4. So they could get caught here. Like I said, a lot of racing still to go. 3 riders at the front. What I'm noticing, so other than Beset, this whole field is a lot of European women. And what I'm seeing is a lot of sort of pro in real life strategies coming to this forefront. So not only with tactics, but you see with the elbow, all of that stuff coming into the game. It's just, or is this a little attack here from L'Equipe? It's putting Beset in a world of pain. That's what I always think when I see that truck power up being dropped, is really struggling and just needing to get on some wheels and have a bit of recovery. But they're not making this easy. I just said I thought they were sort of taking it a bit easy now, but looks like 1-2, and we've got Walkenhurst dropping that Fenner power up. Is this going to launch some sort of an attack?
Perfect timing here. I mean, Beset's obviously struggling, just barely getting on terms. Let's see what the meters do say. She is off of the wheel at 5 meters. Now, they're not messing around. This is what they were looking for. I think that Line and Walkenhurst waited for Line, even though it brought a draft rider up with her. But this is perfect tactics, because the reality is they're making the hurt, and Beset has to just try and hang on at this point as these two just continue to attack her. She played it well, though, got back on terms. They're not getting rid of her, but this is also extending the gap that they have over the reality of Power and Holmsen and Vandenbroek. But Vandenbroek, the triathlete, saying, now I'm getting into my wheelhouse. Now this is the race of attrition. This is all about who's got power through the end of the race. And she's starting to put some work in at the front here. She continues to push these 3 to 5 watts per kilogram. And we saw those elbows pull on through. She's trying to get them to work, it looks like, because I think she's got more in the tank, but she just doesn't want to be the only one working. I really think there's a lot in this rider's tank yet.
Yeah, and we do see Flod here just pulling through. That was the Revo rider. So they've got a nice little group of 4. If they can just work together, take some pulls on the front, they need to get that chat going, because that gap was down to about 9 seconds. It's pushed up to 15. But that group at the front isn't, going at too hot of a pace. I mean, the speeds will be almost the same now. But what it seems like is that front group of 3, so you've got the 2 L'Equipe riders and Beset, are just very, very good on those climbs and get some massive gaps. But these riders seem to be a lot better on the flats, being able to push a bit higher power, longer sustained efforts. Vandenbroek here, we've got Flod, Power, Holmsen. Now nice, tidy little group of 4, starting to take what it seems like some good turns. So they've got that gap down to 14 seconds. They'll go a little bit faster on the downhill that's coming up. Let's see if that's enough to get that gap down to about 9 seconds. But if they don't really catch before the next hills, they're just going to get gapped even more.
Holmsen's in a good spot here, because these 3 riders, they're going to have an unsaid team at this point, right? They're going to have this quiet agreement that we're all solo riders from separate teams. These other 2 teams, they've got, 1 up the road, 2 up the road. We're being chased by a L'Equipe rider. They're behind with Harris. Don't want them to get involved. Tierney's also there, a solo rider from draft. They don't want her staying involved in any way. These 3 riders, Vandenbroek, Flawed, as well as Power, they're really going to have this cohesion now at this point, I think, because the reality is that they need to bring back L'Equipe and Beset. Holmsen, though, in a good spot. I don't think she's going to work with these 3 riders at this point, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see, because if she trusts that it's going to come back, she'll have a lot more energy to try and hang on with those front 3, who really have to put in a ton of work right now to not be caught. And, I wonder if Beset's just going to follow, because she wants her teammate to come back. So both of the draft riders, I think, are getting free rides at this point.
Yeah, they are in a good position. I always think maybe when there's 1 against 2, it's not great, but I think Beset can afford to just sit on wheels here, wait for a teammate to come up, and they know the other riders got dropped on the climb, so should be okay. Just Beset going to 0 there. I don't know if she thought she was going to go into a super tug. Coming around this right-hand corner, they'll hit some sort of very flat area before we hit Libby Hill again. This is the penultimate time, so 1 more lap after this one. So this is where we may see from the L'Equipe riders maybe a sort of a breakaway that they'll try and have stick, push a little bit hard, maybe do some 1-2 punches here. I can see the team manager saying that Bissett is on the ropes, ladies. So they're obviously being told that Bissett is really at the end of her tether. And when you look at Line, I don't know how old she is, but heart rate 165, not that high. So it looks like she's just settled into a good pace here and kind of recovering, even though she's at the front.
Now look at this. The three riders we were talking about doing a really good job. It's within 7 seconds. And, one thing I am thinking about here and want to point out is that this is a longer race compared to most Zwift racing or any kind of racing. And, initial kicks in that like range of 30 to 45 minutes, you really get this idea of who's got an amazing VO2 max. You get an idea of who's got those early race winning moves. But then when you get into these stages of a race, you start to see it really starts to matter what matches have been burned when. And it really starts to become, because a lot of times I'll say, well, if we drop them once, we'll drop them again. Well, if we drop them once, we'll drop them again. But when you start getting into this like over hour racing, you start having a different situation. And somebody who is better in the endurance sector or somebody who's saved a little bit more and maybe doesn't have that crazy punch, they can win out in these situations because of how long the race is. So I'd be watching out for a scary, situation for some of these front runners at this point who may be very strong riders for those 45-minute ranges, but this hour 15 plus, watch out. These four might have an opportunity.
Yeah, we did see that in the men's race. This is right about the time that the chase pack caught the men's front group. That was in the last lap. But then you had a winner who was nowhere to be seen in the first few laps. So we could be looking at a flawed situation here. She's obviously just kind of seen how close they are, really pushing hard now to catch back up to these Equipe riders who have got Bissett with them. Bissett, I think, is on the ropes, a little bit tired, but I think this group is going to catch on, and let's just see how they go on those climbs. Who's been able to recover on wheels? Who's got a little bit of energy? Because I would worry here a little bit that Line has just pushed a lot of pace off the front. Looking at Power, low heart rate, nice high cadence. Power's probably feeling pretty good now. She's been able to sit on in, and looks like they've reined it back in. Great work from the chase pack here. Really, really good work.
Yeah, Power, Vanderbroek, Flawed, all doing huge work. As we had said, Holmsen just sitting in, letting them do the work. Don't want to chase her teammate down. She's got a teammate up the road. Does want to make them waste a little bit more energy before they hit Libby. And it does look like L'Keep here now. They're just keeping it without. Oh, this is a good move by them, keeping it outside of distance here. If it was a larger group that, some riders could sit in and the only one I would say that's getting the most out of this is going to be, as well as Bissett. Bissett and Holmsen are getting a ton of rest out of this situation because they've got two up front with L'Keep doing all the work, and then they've got Power, as well as Flawed and Vanderbroek doing all the work. Are Holmsen and Bissett going to come in not fully rested, but feeling good and be able to just come over the top of all this work?
I mean, if I'm looking at L'Keep here and the strategy they'd play, the strategy I would play here is, have they been taking slightly soft turns here to save Power? As soon as that group catches back on, they attack. That is a great strategy in cycling. Just when they've finally got on and they go, oh, we can recover, boom, you go off the front, and they've just mentally, it's so hard. And you see a lot of riders drop, and we're starting to see those power numbers come up here from Wadenhurst and Line, who we know are good at climbing. They've got to do this now because they do have to worry about someone attacking over the top of them who've just come through with momentum from this chase pack. And you can see there we go. There's that counter attack coming through from Flawed in the Revo kit with a draft rider Holmsen right on her wheel. So these guys are looking a lot fresher as they just go over that KOM marker on the road. This is a time for L'Keep to really pay attention because they could get caught out here with the momentum of this chasing pack.
Yeah, now here comes Power now. It looks like the R3R rider that was really doing a lot of work to get back on turns. But now Line, 4.1 watts per kilogram. And Power now matching it, looks like. 4.8, the German rider. Solid effort now, the two of them. But we saw Bissett and Holmsen. They were sitting in a lot over the last couple of over this last couple of K, will they have reserved enough energy? Are they really going to be the ones to come over the top in the second half? Just following wheels, playing it smart. Looks like Flaw and Vandenbroek here. This is going to be maybe the death knell for them.
Yeah.
I think at this point, 2 seconds this early on Libby Hill, I have a feeling they're going to have an agreement between each other here. Get to the line, take down their top 6 situation, top 7, but now it's on the front. Their power continues on with the power 4.0.
Look at
Line
that.
sitting and waiting, though. This is going to be the moment. Bissett and Holmson. Do they have anything? Holmson going backwards, but Bissett, the anger you're talking about is coming to the front.
Yeah, Bissett is taking the, she got caught out last time by Line with going a little bit too early, so she's getting a nice little gap now. 1 second back to Line. Line pulling up the power, but Walkenhurst also just on her wheels, dropping that aero power up you can see in the distance. But it looks like Bissett really dominating this Libby Hill climb on the penultimate lap, coming around that final hairpin that really kicks up to that 20-ish%. And she's got a good gap now. Line, I don't know if she'll be able to catch up. I think Bissett's got this. I'm not sure she'll launch a solo attack from this, but she's done great work. She's obviously, like you were saying, Nathan, sat in the back of those 2 riders from L'Keep and has managed to save some power and has made it and put it to good use, taking out the Libby Hill climb there.
Second and third, go to line Walkenhurst, Holmson then fourth, and then Power still there. So we may have a group of 5. We'll keep things interesting, but Holmson's got to come across. Nice job there from Bissett. That's going to be Susan Bissett, level 48 Zwifter coming out of the United States. Solid ride here coming from her. She got a 200-watt FTP. She's currently, it looks like, CB minimum categories, 278 races, though. Coming in from Susan Bissett.
Wow.
Long time racer. I'm looking back. She's got like 6 pages, actually, of Zwift Power results. We're looking back all the way to February 9th of 2018, the Giro di Castelli stages 2, 3, and 5, actually. She's been racing EVR Asia races. I mean, this is seriously, very long time rider. Susan Bissett knows how to Zwift. Great rider to be having on draft.
Yeah, I mean, she knows her racecraft. And you can see that here. She just played that very well, just saving so much energy to be able to then unleash on that Libby Hill climb. Again, tucked into wheels really nicely here, tucked into Walkenhurst in line from L'Keep and that draft rider Bissett and that red kit. She's going to come around this right-hand corner. She's going to face a wall. Early drop of the feather. You can see that pulls it out of Walkenhurst as well. So now she's going to jump on her wheel. But look at Bissett opening it up. 7.2 watts a kg. Walkenhurst, though, a little bit more power. This is going to be a mano battle right to the line. Walkenhurst power up just lasts that little bit longer, and I think that will make the difference. Bissett, with all that racecraft, just dropped that a little too early because Walkenhurst dropped it a little bit after, and it made all the difference. She has rolled away. Now, very high watts here. Is this the start of that solo attack? They're heading into their last lap. Up governors, then they'll go over the start-finish banner, and that will be last lap coming up. So I think this could be launching that attack.
Yeah, Walkenhurst. Julia Walkenhurst, this has been her over and over again over the top of 23. Seems to be the 23rd Street. This seems to be her favorite section, actually, time and time again. Solid ride here coming from the German rider. I'm going to see if perhaps we can bring in the leaderboards here, see what kind of... Actually, it's going to be Power who has fastest through the segment, though, for the times that we're seeing here with the 33.56. Walkenhurst with the 33.85, as you can see. As far as those fastest through the segment times go, it is Pool there as well. These are very different names from what we are seeing in and amongst. And this is what tells you, it's not always going to be about the person who's out the front when it comes to those fastest through the segment times, and those points that the teams are going to be looking for. Because there's a lot of names here that are no longer at the front of this race that have that solid time. Now, Power there, only 12 seconds back. She's still involved. But in no woman's land, Holmson there, 11 seconds back. It looks like 4 seconds up to line. She's going to have her work cut out for her here, Power, to get back on terms, the R3R rider. This is the rider that had a little bit of interaction there with Vandenbroek and did a little bit of work, but ended up getting the better of Vandenbroek as she's gone and off the back. Not working with Flood any longer. It's every woman for herself, it looks like, at this point.
Yeah, and I can see some chat coming through. Ride it like you stole it, Julia. So that's Julia Walkenhurst off the front now. She's got 6 seconds. Bissett is not letting her get away, but Bissett is not riding at quite the same numbers. So, Line also right on the heels of Bissett. This is going to prove very interesting. Walkenhurst has pushed up her watts. She's got to take this now. She's not relaxing. She's pushing this flat part. There's no recovery here. It's now gone up to 7 seconds. She's hitting the climb. We'll see how she feels on the climb. I think Bissett is on the ropes a little bit. You could just see that on the second climb. She lost a little bit of speed. If she can't carry on up Governors, then I think Weidenhurst might take this away. Although Line counterattacking over Bissett here. She's really got to be careful she doesn't drag Bissett up. But it looks like that rubber band is stretching right before our eyes. No, Bissett, nervous, pulls back up again. So Line, she's got to be really careful here. She does not want to pull her up.
Yeah, as you can see, 2.9 watts per kilogram. Watch the effort here coming from the two riders now. Bissett, Susan Bissett, the American we were talking about, very strong. Oh, that's early. That is so early. That tells you a lot right there. Serious struggling here, and you saw what she did over the top of Libby, and I think she's suffering for it now at this point.
Yep.
I think the reality of that match burned. Sitting in on the wheel here. She's doing 3.1. The draft dynamics are so amazing now at this point, though. As you can see right here, it really matters. 3.3, 3.7 on the front. The speed is enough that she's getting something out of this. Now up to 3.9, though. 4.0 from Line. Line senses she can taste the blood in the water at this time. Oh, she tries to push on. 173 from Susan Bissett. Everything now for Susan because this is the race. Whether or not she hangs on over the top for L'Equipe to be able to break her.
And you're so right, Nathan. When you drop the feather power up that early and it's not an attack, you're dropping it and you're just sitting on a wheel. That shows you're truly struggling.
Power!
And we're seeing
Power came back!
Oh, Power's made it back up! Oh,
what a ride for Power! This is amazing. Great job by the R3R rider. I am so impressed at this point. I mean, she is Sonny Power off the back to the front, off the back. This has been like 4 times at this point. Sonny Power from R3R making it happen. Level 45 Zwifter coming out of Germany at this point. She's a veteran rider here. And you know, this rider, she's got a pretty solid FTP, it looks like, right around that 3.72. And I think she's got a good kick as well. And Power here, she could be a danger woman here. But here comes Walkenhurst. Walkenhurst, she hasn't slowed down. They never actually caught her. She's just continuing on and say, I don't care what's happening behind me.
Do you know why, Nathan? Do you know why they didn't catch her? Is because Line was riding at the exact same speed and got the others trapped behind her. So they must have seen that. Bissett, I'm surprised. I think she was so in the rivet that she couldn't really push past Line. Great tactics again. Line just kept them at that gap. She's soft pedaling a little bit there, so she kept them back, and that's why that gap has managed to go out. And feather power up dropped here from Walkenhurst. Perfect timing. As she's coming through to the finish, she may just get a little bit of a kick out of that, pick up a new power up over the line. They're only 3 seconds back though, so Line behind needs to either drop back and make Bissett work or drop that pace a bit further. You saw her dropped around 2.7 there, so that's what she needs to do. And she just now is kind of dragging the others up with her. You see her visibly slow down there. Bissett's aware of her game, trying to come up onto her wheel. But yeah, L'Equipe doing a really good job here of sort of mucking up this chase.
So now at this point here, Power, I think, is the rider who is just being quiet as can be. She keeps getting dropped, though, early on. I was really surprised how... The fact that she came back solo, though, that is interesting to me. That, like, she was dropped on those climbs, but then powered her way back to these other riders on her own. I'm wondering if there's something left in this rider's tank, because that is quite the effort to be seeing after getting dropped on those 2 climbs. You usually wouldn't expect somebody to be waiting like that, though, or let something go in those ways. Jumps right on terms here with Line. Horse continues on here. Walkenhurst now, as you can see, 3.1. Line there, 3.0. The speed, 36, 34, as you can see. That's the difference, 3 kilometers per hour. So it's going to continue to go up. But with 3 riders on the downhill, if somebody punches up into those close to orange numbers early on, gets them into the super tuck, that's the tactic here. That's what I'd be looking. How quickly can we get into super tuck and make the snowball happen?
Yeah, I mean, someone's commented that they think it's terrible tactics. She's chasing her teammate. But if you look subtly at the power numbers on the right, she's always kind of keeping a lower power than Walkenhurst in front, who's now pulled out to 8 seconds. So it is actually quite good tactics. They're using that sticky draft because if she goes too slow, the riders will push past her. But if she just goes fast enough, but not as fast as her teammate, they get stuck. So I've seen this play out on the Innsbruck climb. I know Deepak Elite actually did this with a sticky draft. I haven't seen it play out this well in a chase, and Walkenhurst now 9 seconds ahead. And you just see here, I mean, I'm surprised Bissett hasn't really cottoned on to this and put in a little bit of a dig to get in front. She's pulling ahead now, but you probably see Line just edge up ahead again, make sure she's controlling that chase. And yeah, they're really, they've taken massive control of this race.
Yeah, as you can see, 2.5 on the front. They're keeping it under Super Tuck almost on purpose. I think it's 100% on purpose. Keeping it below Super Tuck. You put 2.7 on the front, you will not go into Super Tuck. It will actually go slower on the downhill than if you were to push something a little bit higher and then try and get into that 57 kilometers per hour. They never hit Super Tuck. That means that these watts do matter on the front here at 3.4. Usually watts on the downhill don't really matter very much unless you're doing big punches. In this situation, they definitely matter. She's in the 58. She could get a rest here if she wanted it. She continues on though. And now power here, 1.6, only 56 kilometers per hour, 57. Will they even see 58? No. Look at how much more speed Walkenhorst comes through with.
Yeah.
That was very well played.
Yeah, extremely well played. And you can see that gap now. It's pushed out to 10, 11 seconds. She's pushing massive power now, Julia Walkenhurst on the front. And I mean, Line, I've got to give her, kudos here for being a team player. Really disrupting things in this chase from Bissett and Power. She's getting on the front, making sure the pace isn't enough to catch her teammate. Really, really good work here. Bissett, if she's going to do anything, or Power, they've got to put in a huge effort to get off of Line, stop her being in the pack, stop her disrupting things, and they may be able to catch Walkenhurst. Walkenhurst pushing some huge numbers though, 12 seconds ahead. I think she's got the sort of taste of victory, and that sort of gives you that little bit more motivation, a little bit more power through those tired legs. I think she has believed now she could take this to the line. 13 seconds.
Yeah, looking at Flood, and then the second chase group out on course. Flood, Vandenbroek, Holmsen. That is the situation here. Blackwell out in no woman's land here with the Evo rider, but a top 8, solid result for them. Now there is a reality here though that we're looking at the standings, and I think there's going to be some major change ups here between them at this point, because Evo here 72 at the top here, Anna.
Yeah, and like we heard earlier on the show, the L'Equipe riders are sitting in 5th because they weren't able to field a full team in the first race and lost a lot of points. Now, looks like they could be rolling away with 1st if Walkenhurst can stay away. Line is in the chase pack. If they can do a 1-2, and that's going to push them up a little bit further. They could be taking on the Oni and Bravas as well. And I haven't seen much of KRTB Dressed to Kill. So, yeah, I think the L'Equipe team, huge movement after today's race.
Yeah, and now we do see the solo ride here coming in from Evo, and this is going to be a big upset, I think, for them. Also, R3R, though, they do have a rider up front. Ioni and Banditas, they're not involved anywhere in this top 5 to 6 situation. What a ride here coming in from Rhines L'Equipe now. Big ride for them, and they are really going to jump up this leaderboard here and really make up for that first week where they saw a little bit of trouble trying to get enough riders. Now, Power here, trying to bring things back, goes up to 21 seconds, though, here for Walkenhorst. Now, as we do see it,
sorry, I was just muting my children who have woken up and decided to play some very, very loud lion kind of themed games upstairs.
They're excited for the racing. They're excited for the racing at this point.
Exactly.
All about getting the inner lion for Walkenhorst. They're just watching the stream. That's all that's going on here.
Oh, exactly. They're seeing the lion's heart of Walkenhorst now. 24 seconds. That has blown out while we've been watching some of those riders further back. I mean, 24 seconds. They are saying over in the chat, maybe might not have the power to hold on this hard over the 3 climbs. I'm going to disagree with their team manager. I think that she's so far ahead now. You can only be motivated, and her numbers are still well ahead of Bissette's 4 watts per kg compared to 3.3. I think she's got this. What do you think, Nathan? Is this enough? Is this the winning move that she had?
This is what we've seen over and over again. It seems like in the races. I mean, the men's B category seems to be a little bit of the exception, but even there in the final climb, someone did end up walking. Well, Nussbaumer ended up coming over the top, so it was kind of a sprint of attrition. We haven't seen really a pack sprint with its neck and neck. You've got to go back to the camera. You know what I mean? Get the photo finish. So, yes, I think the reality of this course, it ends up being strongest woman, strongest man's going to win on the day. If you play it right, they got a rider off the front here at this point. And as a lap rider actually coming from draft, flying right on by here. Walkenhorst though, 30 seconds at this point and then pushing 4.2. The German rider obviously has a lot of energy in the tank and very, very motivated. They've done their homework. They put the right person off the front. And that 23rd Street, I got to tell you, Libby Hill tells you a little bit, but 23rd Street, who's winning 23rd Street over and over, getting a gap over 23rd Street? For me, that one a lot of times says who the stronger riders are on the day, because that second effort says what you've got when it comes to when it comes to like you're in the pain cave and you got to put down power and what you got left in there in that pain cave. Walkenhorst has showed us over and over again she's been the strongest over the top.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well that Governor Street climb has caught a lot of people unawares, but it's also shown the sort of strength of the riders who can still, after doing Libby, doing 23rd, can recover and then still push pace up that climb. I haven't seen a lot of recovery. I haven't seen people sort of going, oh man, we're totally toasted. Let's just take it easy up here. There have been riders pushing to the front. Walkenhurst, who has been one. Line has been another. We also saw Power bridge that gap.
Whoa,
Power is now.
This is great to see from her. She got dropped earlier on these climbs, and now it's like she's coming with this second win.
Yeah, this is great work from Power. I think maybe she just lost a bit of her mojo sort of in the mid part of the race, and now with the finish line in sight, but Bissett catching up. Also got Line there, just dropping off a little bit. I think she's put in so much work during this race to kind of take those early sort of solo breakaways, doing a lot of work, also mentally doing a lot of work from her teammate Walkenhurst, trying to keep the pace right, trying not to get the team to catch up. And now she's seen that Walkenhurst has gone away. She may have just fallen asleep on the job a little bit and got caught unawares by these two. Bissett really pushing here. I mean, I don't think she's going to get that 30-second gap to Walkenhurst. Julia Walkenhurst is on the front from L'Keep, but she's doing very well here. And I actually think Power may come through from the line. Good job, Power. I mean, what a rider. That is heart. That is all heart. She is suffering, but wow, what an effort to push through there.
Amazing job here coming through. Now, Line Holm off the back at this point, but you've got to give it to her. She did a lot of work for her L'Keep rider, Walkenhorst, who is off the front. She'll still come in with a 4th place, barring Holmsen. I mean, there's the threat of Holmsen, but Holmsen's dropped down to 1.6. Vandenbroek has been a nonstop threat as well. She's pushing 3.4 behind here. So this race is not over for these minor placings. Power now, I mean, there's still a lot of... The reality of 23rd and Governor is still in front of you, and everyone is within 20 seconds still, except for Walkenhorst. I mean, anyone who's fading and says, I'm done. I mean, Line now at this point, though, pushes up in the 3-1. She might still get back on terms, but there's still a lot of points on the line and a lot of landscape to work with because of the reality of the climbs that are in front of these ladies here. But Walkenhorst off the front, that's the real story right now. The job that L'Keep has done has a feather power up, a little bit of nail in the coffin.
Wow.
Beset and Power on the chase.
Power-up gods. Power-up gods shining on Walkenhurst. She had a feather for Libby. She had a feather for 23rd. She didn't even need them. And you're probably going to see Beset and Power with just drafts or something. So Walkenhurst, man, coming through like a freight train past some of the lapped riders here. Wow,
Evo, almost like a little bit of a ribbon, like going by. Here's an elbow. Yeah, we know you're in first place, Evo Fire, but L'Keep is on a rampage. We're coming back to the table.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's really brutal. They're going to move up the table a lot, because even looking down a bit further, we still have Harris sitting in around 10th or 11th position, a bit further back, but from L'Keep, still looking like they've got 3 riders coming through in the top 10 or 12, so really good team performance here as well. I mean, I've got to say, the strategies and tactics I've seen here from Line, along with Vadenhurst, has just been amazing to watch, sort of taking in real life women's racing to the E streets here, but Line just dropping off the pace here from Bissett and Power. Power pushing ahead of Bissett as well. This is amazing. Power, we saw lap 1 putting the comments there saying, I'm really dying. My legs aren't there. And look at this. She could be coming in for 2nd place.
Sonny Power, great job by her, because R3R Bewitched are in 71 points, 2nd place to Evo Fire. And the ride of the day here for R3R may be this ride here coming in from Sonny Power, because they could take over 1st overall after this because of this ride. 71 points. Evo Fire are nowhere to be seen in this top 5. This is R3R's race, maybe when the standings. Now, the story, though, on the day is L'Keep, obviously. Obviously, L'Keep absolutely dominating on the day. The tactics, the wins, the first across the line points over and over again. Then Draft, though, they've been the runner-ups, I think, on the day when it comes to the points, when it comes to the tactics, but it does look like L'Keep are walking away. But a little bit of silver lining here for R3R with this ride from Sonny Power is the fact that if she's able to keep Bissett off her wheel, beat Bissett to the line. Oh, but Bissett did make the catch, it looks like here. Now Power.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is going to be a rough one. It's going to be out Governors here, and Line is still there as a threat. But to the line here, with Line on the line, it's going to be interesting how this plays out, because there is a lot of points up for grabs for 2nd place. A pretty big differentiation. R3R Bewitched, they want these points so badly for the overall standings. Going in the race 6, 7, and 8, it's really going to matter.
And I think Line's got to be very careful here. She's only 9 seconds ahead of Holmson, who is riding pretty strong. We know Holmson rides very strong on this Governor Street climb. So they've got her in her sights. You can see the draft riders just behind their line. She can't totally relax. We have seen riders caught up very quickly.
Claude Vandenbroek, 2 seconds?
Last lap.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Yeah, she's Draft is all in now. They can see her, which makes it so hard for Line, because we can see them. You've just got that extra little gear to go catch back on. But Welkenhurst here, coming into the 4% grade of the Governor Street climb. She'll come up the top here, round a left-hand corner that is all straight to the line. She can kind of enjoy this, really. 33 seconds back to Power. Power is going very hard here with some high numbers, dropping Bissett, it looks like, about 5 seconds ahead of Bissett. Welkenhurst just needs to be a little bit wary. I think she's got enough with 30 seconds for sure, but Power is pushing very, very high numbers.
Whew, Walkenhurst, this is an amazing ride coming on in from her. Absolutely killing it. Oh my goodness. I'm seeing a lot of chatter coming in actually from chat here talking about this course right now over on Twitch as well, saying, can you please find my legs? Lots of people out here. Yeah, absolutely loving it. I'm loving it also with a little bit of chatter coming on in from Carissa Min hanging out, one of the longest standing admins of the Facebook groups out there as well for Zwift riders and racers, etc. And May the 4th be with you as well on Star Wars Day. Perfect day, actually, for this kind of racing. You need Jedi mind tactics and power to make this happen, to try and float up over the top of these climbs.
Oh, I can't believe I missed May 4th. It's actually May 5th here in New Zealand. We are in the future. But yeah, gosh, that's one of my favorite days of the year. But here we go, a Walkenhurst coming through. It's gone down to about 1%. We've got a quick finishing Power who's reined in a lot of time, 20 seconds behind her, but way too far back now to even worry Walkenhurst. Bissett, 8 seconds behind Power, and Line dropped off the pace and getting caught very quickly by those behind. So it'll be interesting to see that battle, but kudos to Welkenhurst. Amazing racing. Very, very good team tactics from L'Keep. She needs to shout a big thank you to Line. Oh, great image there as she goes across the line, because Line has held off that chase pack for her. She disrupted things, enabled her to pick up that time, get away. It blew out from 5 seconds to 30 seconds very quick. And there we go. Great finish there from Welkenhurst. Power coming through very strong. She has gapped Bissett off her wheel. I'm interested to see the 3rd place finish. But yeah, Power, impressive. We thought she'd dropped. Of called back on. Beset coming through for third place. She got a bit of ragey during those middle laps, but she's come through strong. Hasn't wasted too much power there. Now, this is what I want to see, because behind, 7 seconds. Hasn't been able to catch that up. Flawed, very fast finishing, but looks like Line.
Ooh, Vandenbroek!
Fourth place.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Not going to happen. Oh, so close. So close. Not going to happen. Holmeston going to come on in for 7th. Blackwell, Harris, Goodall. I think that'll be the finishing order, depending. Goodall may be able to do something. Now, I do want to point out that R3R with that ride from Power, amazing ride there. But at the same time, we did see a lot from the drafty bees from draft, and a ton of points from them. They were in 7th place, actually. This ride from them out here today, from the drafty bees, from 7th place, and then putting 2 in the top 5 now at this point, that is a huge ride for them. They are also going to be going up, in the standings. Obviously, though, Reigns powered by Stages there, the L'Keep riders there, they absolutely dominated out here. Now, I am seeing these riders, though, from Evo starting to roll in. So Evo, even though they, I think they're going to fall a little bit, but I don't think too far. Because KRT, I'm not seeing them anywhere from Just to Kill. Aeonian Banditas as well, completely out of the picture of this top 10 as well. So this situation here, from what we're seeing here, is on the day, it's all about L'Keep. It's all about draft. We're seeing R3R and Evo, I think, are the ones that are really going to win out on the day. And the biggest win is coming from that 59 points. Big jump from them. They're going to jump all the way up. Is that going to give them 79 on the day? Total for 20 points on the day. Total as they take down the win here. Where's that going to put them is going to be the question compared to R3R, depending on how many R3R riders come across the line. Dudson here now, they're going to get some points here from her. So very, very great racing. I think at the end of the day, though, all these minor places really, really matter because it is a points race, team points race. So that's one of the cool things, too, about what we have here with WTRL. Stedman, the first KRT rider that we are seeing, she's going to be able to try and pull something off for them. But because of the way that this point structure works, Anna, it really keeps all these racers racing all out to the line to hold everybody off.
Yeah, exactly. This has been some very exciting racing here from this women's B division. Some of the best tactics, like I've said, that I've seen across all of the racing that I have commented on for quite some time. So, L'Keep, they may be new to the format. I've said their team manager said they've got quite a few new riders, but they must have in real life experience because they played those tactics too.
We have a guest. We have a guest, it looks like. Let's bring the guest in. You want to do an introduction even? We'll see. Or is it an unhappy guest? We'll have to see how it goes.
We'll see how the guest goes.
And that's the reality of pandemic racing in some ways, as well as the reality of a lot of the ways that our hosts and shows go. But great to have Anna Zwift Racer. Does this guest have their own tag? I'm wondering. But as the new commentator,
Little Max. Hey,
Little Max.
Hi, buddy?
Little Max will have to see the "Don't Go in the Lava" video to get a little inspiration, maybe for commentating. A little bit of inspiration for commentating with little Milo, because Milo has made his debut as well. Head on over to Twitter and you'll see on Nathan Kerr page the "Don't Go in the Lava." He'll get inspired maybe for his commentary review. We're gonna point everybody on over to WTRL.racing. Well, are we good, Anna? Are you good for results here?
I think we can do some results with, it'll be all good. We can kick through some of these results.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and head right on in to the men's results. And we'll jump through all of them. It's going to be the A's, the B's, and the C's and D's for this. And here we go. In the men's mixed EMEA East 1 Division 1 for the A's, looking for a load up. Maybe we'll have to push on over as perhaps they aren't loading for us. Let me see if Martin... seeing that perhaps we might have a struggle here. So maybe we'll just let everybody head on over. I apologize, guys. It looks like we don't have these at the moment. There are no results currently anywhere, everybody, just so everybody knows. But WTR will work on that. Apologies. So it looks like We'll just have to wait on that, and that's I have a feeling there's just a little bit of a mess is what I'm being told. There's a little bit of a mess. So that's we'll just leave it at that. So we'll wait for some of the data to come through, and WTR working really, really hard on that. Head on over to WTR.racing for results as they do come up. For this though, you can go ahead and watch the VOD and the replays. They were pretty obvious who came across the line where, because it wasn't any sprints to the line. And then we will wait on the points to get sorted by WTRL. Thanks a lot, Anna. You've worked really hard today. You up late, up early for it. Obviously, I obviously love it, and we absolutely love you bringing the whiteboard to the table. It's absolutely great. You also had a great little feature on APAC and DPAC lead actually on WOZ. That was really great to see those guys and what they're all about. If you haven't checked that out, everybody check out the latest World of Zwift. Really great to see what APAC is all about and who that DPAC elite team. Watch out for them. I think that they've got a big chance here. And I'd be excited to see them as well in the Premier Division.
Yeah, and watch out for the World of Zwift this week, because we do feature the Agawatt ladies, new team coming out of Canada, doing
Nice.
amazing things for women's cycling. And you'll see them later in the USA East Division with Laura Perry, who we interviewed. So she'll be in her little party pain cave racing pretty hard in a couple of hours.
I actually was the ZCL Instagram and Twitter. If you haven't followed it, it's starting to get a little bit more activity. We're gonna retweet out and post some of her stuff because she's streaming on Twitch now as well, Laura Perry, and she's got a crazy awesome setup. If you haven't done so, twitch.tv, go check out the Zwift game directory. There'll be tons of people throughout the entire day of ZRL, as well as the entire day of WTRL TTT, the two largest events every single week on Zwift. Thousands and thousands of people. And out of those thousands of people, you can find hundreds of them streaming their races over on twitch.tv in the Zwift game category. I know Laura has been hammering it. She's got a really cool looking gamer setup actually with a lot of lights going on in the background. So really great
It's
to
crazy.
see.
Crazy disco setup.
It's so awesome. All right, Anna, thanks a lot. Guys, we'll be back in just a little bit for America's East and West. Me and Dave are going to be on America's East. Kate and Dave will be on America's West. We're going to have some special features with draft actually in America's as well, with some team car action. Really, no breakaways going to be jumping in there with the DS. So really cool stuff happening. We'll see everybody in just a little bit. Thanks a lot for everybody for hanging out with us. And as always, right on.